Yeah.
So maybe that's a hot take. It might not have, but you haven't seen. It had some stud actors though.
No, I'm like aware of it and its cultural significance,
Boom, 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 boom,
and I know the
boom,
song,
boom.
but it wasn't something
And
that
there
I
have been
was.
some terrifying.
The song is called The Dueling Banjos.
Only you would know that. And who asked you?
You asked me who Warren Beatty was.
Yeah, I didn't ask you about the song.
It's the same thing.
Shane, that intro was hype though.
They go together. Oh,
That
thank
intro,
you.
that intro was.
We're getting the
hype.
stream back up.
Shane, did you get that link?
We're getting it here.
Hey, so you know how sometimes, like her countermeasure to somebody being mad at her is her being angry. Is she angry? Is she David Banner?
I have not talked to her.
Okay, because I want her to know I'm steaming Willie Beeman.
Our-
She's probably lobbed me like 15 birds.
Our guy Austin's helping us out here.
Oh, Austin, NEB Preps, Austin.
Yeah, your guy.
Listen,
That's your guy.
I got to tell you something real quick about that dude.
I'm listening. I'm ready.
He is ridiculously smart. His for a pup,
He is just a young blood.
his Rolodex is extensive.
Yeah. He's a good dude.
He
Austin.
really is. He really is.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. He
And
helps us out with our clips too,
and
like our stuff
and he
that goes on
takes
social
control. Because I mean, come on, man, me and Padilla. I mean, what are we talking about? And he has that thing on.
media. Hey
lock.
Shane, I'm in. You can put me in now.
Okay.
I'm not out of spite. Listen, if ain't nobody paying attention, I'm not going in. Nope. I ain't going in.
Well, I just sent it to you.
And I'm about to be ornery all day.
Well-
Now, listen, 2 hours sleep watching that game. Probably 2:30.
I would say between the 2-hour sleep
2:30.
and the
And I made the bed this morning before I left again. Your boy is feeling
Yeah.
good.
hey, there we are. We're on the stream.
Nah, you're on the stream.
Well, we both are because I set the camera up so it sees both of
I'm
us.
gonna go ahead and take that on down.
You know, this is why I do
I'm gonna go
this.
Take those chicken thighs and bust them on down.
Amazing Daniel says it was Ned Beatty, not Warren Beatty.
I know it wasn't Warren. Thank you, Dan.
Oh,
see,
Warren's the.
see, he's the guy that played
he's in
the Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy.
Yeah, see, Daniel had
Mm.
my back, and what he was
Thanks,
up
Daniel.
late because he's on EST time. He hit me with a late text for him.
Did he?
Yeah,
I don't even recognize what we're doing.
he might have just gotten done with the show.
Did he?
I don't know. I didn't ask him. I was using a knife and a fork to eat a sandwich in my kitchen.
See,
hey,
I've been an Arby's fan since I was a kid. I loved Arby's.
Yeah.
But you don't eat any of the things I want at Arby's.
are they all sides?
I mean, I'm curly fries are my jam.
No,
I
see,
love curly
No,
fries.
I'm not going to. No cap though. I would. No, I'm not 12. Not to be disingenuous.
Yeah.
I would, like a year ago, I would
Smash some curly fries.
No, the worst. I would eat.
Are you a
no.
potato cake guy?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
Listen,
There's no question. Come on.
Hear my heart. You know, there's very few things I get serious about.
I know.
I almost divorced Arby's over them getting rid of the potato cakes.
Really?
Oh,
They're
Oh.
back though. They're back, baby.
no, they're gone again. It was.
Are they gone
it was
again?
limited time.
Oh, because they were back for a minute.
Yeah, don't you remember like my full-fledged Pookie in New Jack City jonesing to take a hit of a potato cake? I was like, I want a potato cake. 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 And I didn't go get the potato cake.
You didn't spit on that thing, Pookie.
Whoa. Ravi
sure hope so.
Ravi Tua. Wow, really? It's kind of weird.
Listen, you hit me with the Pookie. It's a weird morning. I don't know.
It's old school Chris Rock. So he has my ashy lips. See, because the point I was trying to make earlier is I'm drying myself out to travel.
Yeah.
Because I plan like 36 hours in advance. So the show's going to start in the morning. By the way, ESPN 594, the pregame show at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Bright and early. Kegs and eggs and football. Let's go.
Yeah, bro, 7 a.m.
That's
your
early
boy
for
is
you.
Like talking to the famous Josh Hilkeman back in studio. Hey, Josh, how's my voice sound? Sounds pretty raggedy, DB. You got any honey? Josh, I coached 2 nights ago. Can you just cut your boy some slack? Your boy Ben McLaughlin ordered an Uber. No, he'll probably make me take the truck tomorrow.
My guy Benny Mac.
The first truck that goes over.
We love Benny Mac.
Man, listen. He should have been born in the 60s.
Why?
First of all, he's younger than me. He's
Yeah.
like my third dad.
Yeah.
There's my dad.
Okay.
Well, probably fourth. There's my heavenly dad. Then there's my dad. Then there's Greg Sharp.
Yeah.
Then there's B Mac. It takes them all.
Takes a village. Takes a village
so
to raise
we're
DB.
going to be loitering in the lobby at like 6 o'clock a.m. We're going to complain about breakfast. Somebody inevitably is going to be tired, a little cranky,
Yeah.
and he's going to take the bus. And I get that bus will leave in the 5s.
Yeah.
I haven't. It's sent clearly, but I haven't looked at it.
Yeah.
That equipment bus, I bet you leaves before it will leave in the 5s. And he's super concerned. He's like, we want to get there early, get there set up, make sure the equipment's good. I'm like, man, I'm gonna Uber at like 6:25.
DB's like, I'm just trying to get there.
No, but see, I got it down now. I go when Jess goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the mistake you made.
Well,
in
because there's
Minnesota.
2 more of us, Alex. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And she had to end up picking me up anyway.
That's what I mean.
Actually,
so now you're
actually her niece.
now you're just like, hey, we're just gonna go.
And her Jeep picked me up. So I'm ready because the team is they're kind of pissy and I love it.
They're dialed.
I don't know. Right? I can't tell.
Sure.
Sometimes, like sometimes I'm just angry to be angry. and I'm not very dialed sometimes.
mad.
Right? So I don't know how it's gonna correlate, but I do know.
They got the edge.
Yeah, they just been sitting too long.
Yeah.
And it's hard, I think, when you want to be someplace that somebody currently is.
Well, and you've been hearing about
And you've been hearing about it.
You've been hearing about
so
it.
I think
Yeah.
if I don't know. I wish I could cap the emotions because it's very understated.
Yeah.
Because Indiana's got to manage their side of their emotions.
And it's a
too.
very different emotional
and
balance.
And so does Nebraska.
Yeah.
So, it's. I'm very, very curious to see how it plays. One thing I am glad, and it's not just because I want to get back early and eat a huge meal and drink about 55 gallons of water. I seriously feel like I've been eating powdered donuts.
That's not good.
So if you stare at my lips, I'm going to be self-conscious. So don't do that.
I'm not. I'll look
Like
up.
like when you look at me, like don't make eye contact.
No,
Just go like this.
Wait, so you don't? If I'm making eye contact, that means I'm not
No,
looking at your
no,
lips.
don't
Make eye contact. So
Well, just don't
kinda
look at my
over.
lips because I'm telling you.
Now it's one of those things where, like, now that you've said it, I'm just gonna look over here the whole time.
It's a total drying out process. But I think about these things in advance. See,
No, I do the same thing when I go on a road trip.
Travel doesn't sneak up on me.
I try and
So
clear the mechanism. You know,
don't look at my lips.
I'm not. I'm trying not to.
I can't tell what it's going to lead to. I do think the preparation is at a very high level.
Well, and that's about all you can ask for, right?
I'm gonna try not to lick my lips.
We're on camera now. You gotta be careful.
Hey, is it Gems? Dolly Madison or
Gems.
Dolly Madison? It's Dolly Madison or Hostess. Who makes the powdered donuts?
I think everybody does.
I feel like I had about 7.
Hostess does for sure. Little Debbie has
Little Debbie's.
some little powdered donuts.
She's the goat.
Little Debbie,
I don't know who Hostess is, and I don't know
like pound for pound, Little Debbie has the best snacks.
I don't know who Tasty Cakes is as a person. I don't know.
But Little Debbie's the goat.
Little Debbie's the goat.
Yeah, I'm here for Little Debbie.
I don't. Nobody's really messing with Little Debbie.
No, she's you come for the king. You're not gonna. You can't.
No, I get it. There's probably some Hostess snobs.
I mean, I
some Tasty Cake.
think
folks.
there's like Hostess makes a few things. I think there's like the ho hos and the ding dongs.
Well, everybody has a knockoff version.
Yeah,
of
they have
their
a
own,
version.
though. I mean, doesn't everybody have a zinger?
pretty. I don't know what a zinger is. Which one's the zinger?
A zinger is what I hit you with about every 3 days when you get under my skin.
Okay.
What?
I'm surprised it's only once every 3 days. That's not a terrible ratio.
Hey, Shane is like, I'm not going to be able to control this dude today. It's funny. Too, 'cause a couple guys in my staff were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You can sleep on the plane." I was like, "In public, so I can
Yeah.
wake up with a Snickers or a piece of bubble gum in my ear? Not happening."
You know, like most of those people are adults on that plane. That's probably not happening, right?
Yeah, and I am back there in the snooty group.
So you're probably all right.
Plus, I get to fly with my guy today,
Who?
Nano.
Oh yeah.
And there's a few people of significance that
Getting on the
occasionally
plane?
yeah,
There you go.
he's like. He has a nickname for me. It shall remain nameless. He's like, hey, ready to go. He's just coming back from Italy.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was doing some thinking with his boys in Italy.
Was he hanging out with Nate Newhouse
No,
in Italy?
Tupac.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Big Tupac guy.
You got Tupac in Italy, just hanging out.
Did I tell you Tupac was at Westside?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I'll show you.
You know who was at Westside last night?
Who?
Well, not at Westside, but Tay was running around Westside.
Yeah, old T. Jinx. Tay Jenkins.
He is, from the start of the year till now, he has improved dramatically.
No, so he's been that guy. That's our fault. Remember what I told you about our offense early? Off air? We're just doing too much.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we pin, we pull, G scheme, like it's just too much. Now we've just kind of settled in.
You found a groove.
Yeah, and he
looks dramatically better.
He is cock strong.
Man,
He's in the weight room.
Well, and he was bursting through that hole, and there was no catching him.
For
a little dude.
Did you see his interview last week when he
got the big game
They're
change?
like, hey, what do you want to say to your fans? And he goes, I love them.
Yes. Yeah.
I love them. Nah, he's tough.
He was tearing it up.
Prep fans hit us with the transfer portal. They were great last night.
Yeah.
They got there early. They were loud.
We like a good fan base.
Then the student sections were going back and forth. And Prep hit Westside with, what'd they say? Let's play esports. Oh, man, I was crying.
Man, Prep's been doing
They're legit.
Prep's been doing that, like, let's play whatever, since I was in high school.
It was funny.
Because we were playing them in the state championship in like 03, 04 in baseball.
You got a turd in your pocket?
Miller North.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
your boys.
the GOATs.
Yeah.
Playing them in the state championship.
Get a couple guys that came from out of district to play baseball for that team.
Yeah, a couple good ones.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
I think he just got another hit.
It's postseason, so probably did.
Yeah, he was sick.
Yeah. Especially with like 16, he had a real nice postseason.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and so they would hit us with like they were beating us, and so I think we hit them with the let's play football because we waxed them like 38-7 in a state championship game. Not that I remember anything like that.
03, you guys waxed a lot of folks.
There was a lot of waxing going on there.
Shoot.
And then they hit us with a let's play tennis.
Yeah, they were.
And then we hit them back with a Shiva Parbu who'd won like 4 straight tennis. Shiva Parbu?
Sheila Booth?
Shiva Gulab Jamun.
Hemoglobin?
Shiva Parbu. He was like a 4-time state champion in Miller North. Played at Notre Dame.
Ooh.
I think he played professionally as a doubles player for a while.
Yeah.
Good tennis player.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming at us with better come out something better than tennis if you're coming for Shiva Parbu.
About 230-mile-an-hour wind. I knew we were in trouble when our punter in warm-up kicked the ball backwards.
Dude, it was windy last night. That's not great.
It's tough.
Not great.
Yeah.
I was watching that thing with Timo's.
Oh, God. Where'd you see that wackadoodle?
We got a drink together like we're playing on the air.
See, I told you see? I said, he's not playing.
No, I know. He texted me like right after the show, and I was like, all right, let's do it. Pick a place.
He is a certifiable nut job.
We watched what, first couple, 3 quarters?
Yeah. He's Tay spent quite a few hours at that house.
Oh yeah. Every time he does something, he goes, "That's my guy."
Yeah, it is. They're thick as thieves.
He does that with a lot of people though. He's got a lot of guys.
I think Tay has his garage. Oh, well, half the city has his garage code, but I think Tay has his garage code.
So there's a lot of people that has his garage code.
Yeah, it's like the Open Door Mission West. and anywho, I think so. We're getting there. It's not relatively early, but. Is there a time zone change in Bloomington?
Yes, they're Eastern.
Yeah, so we'll be there by 3:30. So 2:30 here.
Yeah, because you're leaving noon today, right?
Well, I have to be seated at noon.
Oh, so you're actually not leaving till 1.
Hey,
because you're one of the. I almost said something.
Yeah, don't get socked. I'm on edge.
I don't know if I get socked. I might have got kicked off air.
The old boy of New Jack City where he put the blade through his hand. Man, I have to fix my lips.
That's the first time in a long time I've overcome my joke Tourette's.
Thank the Lord.
It was rough.
So last time at West Lafayette, when we went to West Lafayette, the bus left from the stadium late because they wanted the practice schedule wasn't quite on time. So of course, your boy had time to deplane, walk across the street to his vehicle, and go get his AirPods that he was terrified to go back and get. I knew I left them on my front seat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I'm boarding this plane after I'm supposed to be boarding, listen, so I was terrified. I sat there mad. And Brandon, one of the guys sitting next to me, he's like, man, he goes, you good? No, I'm not good. I'm trying to find my AirPods. So I'm like looking for them, and we got the memo. Hey, bus isn't leaving the stadium until 12:10. I was like,
let's go.
Listen, Speedy Gonzalez, zip zip bang. Everybody's like, where are you going? And he's like, sir, you can't Nah, I'll be right back. You just got to swipe me again. Wand me again. Okay. I'll be back through the security.
Like if Carolina had seen that 40, bam.
Your boy went behind the check-in gate. Like I'm skirting along the wall like a goddamn Spider-Man because you can't go back out the way you came. I'm like, excuse me.
Pardon, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to the bathroom at a stadium. Excuse me.
So best wishes calming me down today with a game on the horizon and
We will get in.
a lot of sports watching.
We will get.
It didn't include my
into
Dodgers.
All of it. We've got all sorts of lovely guests today, including Mike Huffman, head football coach at Bellevue West, Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska, and then of course our regulars Mike Sautter and Matt Vrzal to wrap up the show. That's DB. I'm Ravi. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. 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 will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Oh! Oh my goodness! Big Christmas has tied it! The ultimate present under the tree! Oh my goodness! John Kinsey Noel! The biggest swing of his life!
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DBM, Ravi, Lulla. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You know, they just had that one out there for them. Just Christmas came early, and they didn't even go there
Christmas came early, huh?
for Cleveland. You know,
That's-
just put it out there.
It's cute.
Although my guy Noel looked like he'd been at Game Day Men's Health. He's
He
looking,
was He
he's
looked like.
looking all jacked up. He looked
Don't
like your
act
guy
like
Chris.
you didn't think that was Pedro Serrano.
I thought it was Willie Mopena.
Babas. TK said I need a nap. No, see, TK, you'll like me like this, I think.
You don't sleep during the day, right?
Heck no.
Yeah.
No.
You gotta
too much daylight.
stay.
Shot him in
You gotta
daylight.
stay on it.
Shot him in daylight.
Although, speaking of our guys over at Game Day,
You a big Drake guy?
no, I don't like Drake at all. I'm just not a fan. His voice bothers me. Just the sound of his voice bothers me. We gonna call it a day. We're not.
Oh, oh, oh wow. Wow.
Who's rolling up here at 7:30 in the morning?
My man said,
I don't like the sound of his voice.
have you not ran through your playlist that we had to hear on going to Indianapolis? And you have the audacity to say you don't like Drake's voice?
Drake wasn't anywhere to be found.
Wow.
I had a killer playlist.
That thing sucked.
I mean, I can't help that your taste in music is questionable at best.
Speaking of taste, if anybody has some honey and they're riding along 126 in Harrison and they'd like to drop me off a squirt, that'd be great.
Is that what this Maz is doing out here?
I have no idea who that is.
I don't either.
I can't even see because I pulled the blinds down. Well, I can't see anyway. but
I
pulled
can't read.
No, it's somebody probably going for a walk.
We had a surprise announcement yesterday
Surprise, surprise.
in the world of college sports.
Oh, man, don't you start. My guy.
I do want to start.
Hey, he went in early.
Well, let's get it right. So Tony Bennett, University of Virginia men's basketball coach. Despite what AI thinks, it was not the singer who I believe is already dead.
Shane, Tony Bennett, dead or alive?
That's
Wait,
my guy Evan. What is he doing here?
it is your guy.
What is he doing here?
What the world?
I-
Does he have anything to do?
He doesn't live here. I don't know. Shane, can you let him in?
I believe Tony Bennett passed.
Oh,
within
now
the
your
last year.
mood changed. Your boy's here.
Dude, that's awesome.
You're weird.
I didn't even.
And who does that?
I don't know.
Wow. So he's just going to parlay in here by himself?
I guess, man.
Shoot, you should go run and give me some chapstick. I don't use
I think I got
chapstick,
some
though.
Burt's Bees in the car.
I'm
if you
not
need
touching
some.
anything you put to your mouth. What the world is wrong with you? Hey, how about my guy Andy? He said Lil Debbie is the only girl his wife lets him mess around with.
Dude, I will mess around with those Christmas trees, like the Little
That's-
Debbie snacks.
Yeah, that's not my jam.
What do you like?
So I could eat a whole box of oatmeal cream pies.
Oh, yeah.
No questions asked. And I could knock off the cinnamon apple This dude.
Dude, what are you doing here?
I could knock off the cinnamon apple Dunkin' sticks. I'm still not going to look at you when I talk.
That's because you still self-conscious about the lips or what? Or is it the Drake thing?
Yeah, I don't like his voice.
I don't like Drake. What do you want? What do you want
It's
from
fine,
me?
but you could have said he's a terrible lyricist or
No, I literally
he's
just don't
got,
like the sound
he's got
of his
creative
voice.
body or something, but you went with his voice.
I don't like the sound of his voice. What do you want me to do?
I don't know about the creative body thing either. Can I say something about Bennett? Can I read you this before you go in?
Let's talk about Tony Bennett.
So my man T-Mac said,
This is what I wanted you to do.
this is just how mad people are over this.
Yeah.
Right? So we let Saban off the hook because he slid into TV and he got another job. So we kind of just let him off the hook that he was running college football for 20 years.
Yeah.
Controlling the market. But then when the market kind of leveled out,
He's just like, I'm out.
yeah, I'm out. So T-Mac was like, man, good morning, man. Great win yesterday. But you could feel a butt coming. But to the Virginia coach and all the other holier-than-thou types, since kids are getting paid, you have no issue accepting multi-millions to coach as well as $10 million buyouts. But now, the same system that allowed you to get paid during the years to fix the ability for players to own their own name, now it's unbearable. GTFOH.
What does that stand for?
No idea.
Get the fun out of here.
Yeah, no fun police.
No fun for Tony Bennett anymore.
Yeah, no fun. They've been paying. Now this is great
And true.
because people sleep on this.
Yeah.
But he knows because his daughters are they're getting into this now. They've been paying for coaches, under the table bagmen, AA coaches getting jobs on the bench. They can call and go argue to their mamas. All right, then, T-Mac. By the way, I hope your Longhorns get dusted off. I just don't think they will.
Yeah.
I can only hope, though.
So I'll be really interested to see what Tony Bennett says at 11 this morning.
Hopefully he keeps it brief. But I do think, and you can figure this out because you know somebody, we know somebody. I may know him pretty well, so is the guy at 9 o'clock, that can speak to Tony Bennett's philosophy and kind of what was it's different. It was a different environment.
Yeah, it's way about going about things
at UVA.
Yeah, and it is possible.
By the way, he looks good.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, he looks good.
Another type 1 diabetic athlete.
Is he really?
He is. Yeah.
Oh, good on him.
Yeah,
he's such a big human being.
He is. Well, he's like 6. He's like a legit 6'10", right?
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
I hope he plays well.
I do too. I'm here for stretch 5, Isaac Trout.
Hey, but do you remember something? Why we're just bouncing all over the place before we get to Bennett. But this is Creighton related. Do you remember the time? So Coach Cannon called us. This might have been when I was with AR-15. I can't do gun references.
Miller North great Tim Cannon.
Oh my gosh! You just skipped over Brian. It's fine.
I mean, multiple time state champion Tim Cannon.
It's fine. Anyway, in my former life, I think people know I was a big Jason Green guy.
Yeah, me too.
So when he first got there, I was like, man, really hoping for JG. Then the next year he was sitting out coming off the injury, and I'm like, God, we keep talking about all these other players. I said, let's not forget about, and he hadn't even remotely taken off. I hadn't even got the inkling and hints in practice. But I would always see his parents and stuff. They're just like staying with it. I'd gone to a couple games with my man AC. We were just watching him, and everybody talked about his his demeanor and his work ethic. And Coach Cannon called the show, and he said, "You know what, Damon? This wasn't even an interview. He just called.
Yeah, just called the show.
His wife was taking him to work, and she had just made him some fresh cookies. He told me he's a great dude, and he's like, I'm glad we're one of the guys that keeps bringing up Jason Green. We keep hearing about all these other guys' development. I'm just going to tell you about Jason Green. And he just went on for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He just took the floor. It was almost like an interview without an interview.
Yeah.
I just listened to it. Kind of like when Lincoln Lance calls. He just talks, and then we just let him get it out. And then it's like, oh, we
maybe ask a couple follow-ups, whatever.
Yeah, because I think we forgot about him in that recruiting class.
I think,
and he's still continuing his upward ascent.
He's getting better.
Oh,
he's still getting better.
Oh, yeah.
See, Jason Green is a guy I love.
Shout out Tony Bennett during this segment.
Because
See what Isaac Trout gets you?
Jason Green's a guy I love.
We play Indiana in 20 hours, and you guys are being Creighton honks.
Oh, yeah. It was media day yesterday. It's basketball season.
Shout out Rob Anderson.
What I love about Jason Green is he's a guy that only basketball guys knew he was good.
Mhm.
Because he wasn't going to put up the numbers because he got in where he
Like
fit
what I
in.
would say in high school, I think he's like the best weak side rebounder on the planet.
Yeah.
How's that going to translate? Pretty dang good.
Yeah, guys that
Guy
that can make winning plays
Yeah.
and also have that physical athletic profile, going to end up pretty good, right? What did we see with him in Creighton last year?
Okay, so Madonna.
Found winning plays. Found winning plays.
I
plays.
put the quarter in.
Found winning plays.
Relax.
We love Jason Green.
Okay.
Miller North guy.
All right, shout out.
Also love Hunter Salas. Getting some ACC Player of the Year buzz.
Yeah.
Also St. Thomas. Go ball out in LA.
Oh, did you see hey, how about him? How about Saint, a representative at Media Days?
I know.
Trelly, a representative at Media Days. Trelly's muscles now.
Dude, he's pretty yoked up. He looked like he's been hanging out at Game Day Men's Health too. Just hanging out with your guy Chris.
Hey, glad we just skipped over Tony Bennett.
Hey, Tony Bennett retired.
Is that 11 a.m. Central or Eastern?
I assume it's Eastern
Because he's in
Virginia,
Charlottesville?
but that's my assumption. I don't know.
You know what I like to say when people give times?
What's that?
I only care about the one I'm in.
100%. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Mike Huffman, head football coach at Bellevue West.
I want you to ask him what color pants he's wearing. It won't be awkward at all.
All right, we'll do it.
Gray, purple, yellow.
That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio. It's the Friday Coach's Corner.
This is a process that we're going through. And although we're looking for the winning edge, shortcuts aren't one of them.
Hello? This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game.
Can you believe they called that play?
I formation, quick 141.
94, fullback banana, hot right.
Ron left wide nasty, 16 lead pass.
Just what were those coaches thinking?
They are who we thought they were. We let them off the hook.
On the Friday Coach's Corner.
Hey, the spot! He's up here, sir.
You misplaced the line of scrimmage, you bunch of dummies.
It's the Friday Coach's Corner.
Wrapping up hour number one here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We're joined now by Mike Huffman, head football coach at Bellevue West. Coach, how are you this morning?
Hey, great morning. Out and about running some errands. No school today and the game at night. Not my favorite situation, but we'll make do.
Coach, I got to ask you because DB told me I had to, and he said it was going to be weird, and it's fine, but I'm going to do it anyway. He wants to know what color your pants are.
Oh, tonight we're going with the Grays tonight. Going with the Grays tonight. Those whites were nice, weren't they, DB?
Oh, man, only you. Like,
Well, I did that for you, I told you.
yeah, he was hilarious.
I was at the Under Armour outlet last spring,
Oh.
and I'm a weirdo, guys. I wear the same colors each day of the week. Thursday's my yellow day, and I'm at the Under Armour outlet. We're getting ready to go on vacation. Needed something for my son, Jack, and I saw those pants. And I'm like, oh, yeah, those are going on Thursday night game night. So, like, I told Damon, I almost texted him, man, like, just wait till tonight.
Yeah, he didn't want me to shoot my shot early. I was like, I would have protected you. You could have sent me the pic. I wouldn't have sent it out. He goes, so he comes out of the locker room, and I mean, he's just like yellowed up. He had these sweet Adidas shoes. I was like, OMG, what is wrong with this dude?
Listen, I appreciate somebody who cares about their wardrobe as much as I do. So I like that,
yeah,
Coach.
I match my shoes to everything.
Good.
Hey, so you're like, there's like this genuine joy, man. It seems like you guys are obviously getting better. You're running it better. Your mood is great. Your staff is vibing. Like, this is the latest in the season we have ever talked to you, but you might be having the most fun. Is that weird?
I just was hoping you guys didn't lose my number, man. I realized it's been a couple of years, you know, and I've told our kids and I've told our staff we haven't won a game like this since 2021, guys, and that's what happens. You know, you have to stay relevant, and to stay relevant, you have to win. So no, we are having a good time, and Damon, you guys are going through the same thing. When you're young, there's certain things that, and now you guys have figured out how to stay young and still win. We've got to figure that part out. But they have gotten better. You know, we've had different combinations in the line. You know, I don't know if you'll get a chance to throw on some. I know Gary's doing the game tonight. Throw that on. The offensive line that we're running, some of the same kids, but they're almost all in different spots. The emergence of Tristan, who you saw play some quarterback against you.
Yeah, he was tough.
He's playing running back for us now, and he's a fantastic slasher. And he's just, you know, you played RB, you know, the more you play it, the more you get a different feel for the different zone concepts and gap concepts. So we're excited about it. And defensively, we lost two guys that first game, and you know how much you like Stanley Hayter.
Yeah.
57, and then we also lost 56. So they just got back last week. So not only is everything going better, we're getting healthy instead of losing kids, and it has been fun. And you have to change. I don't want to say change your mindset, because we always go into every game to win. But when you're in teach mode, because we're so young, that's a little bit different. But like I keep telling kids, we are not coaching for the future, because that's not fair to the seniors. We are coaching for the now.
So one of the things that I liked, and I said this, it had been a little bit of time since you guys had played hard till the end. And I like the fact, especially defensively, you guys really continue to get after different movements, different fronts, like different blitz packages. Like, are you seeing like the kids have fun playing hard, like being creative? Like, you know, I love your DC, but I'm just saying, like, it just seems like that you're playing harder longer.
You guys there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just saying you guys are playing harder longer.
Yeah, so this is something that, and I can't remember because we text sporadically throughout the season. And
Yeah.
at halftime, you know, we were down, and I said, boys, the next, 24 minutes, we're going to find out not who you are as a football player, but who you are as a person and as a man. because the last couple years our kids have folded when we've played you guys, and I should say West Side. They have a whole program there.
Yeah.
But then you guys come out and you house the opening kickoff of the second half. What an easy way to lay down and just cash it in, and we didn't. And I told the kid, I'm not into moral victories, man. You've known me since you were 3 months old, man.
Yeah.
There ain't no such thing. But I was so proud of our kids for fighting, and we just kept building on that. I'm proud of them. I'm super excited for tonight. I'm not joking, guys. It's been since 21 since we've won a game that on chalk you're not supposed to win, and that you can't do that. And I can't wait for tonight.
We're talking with Coach Huffman from Bellevue West. Coach, you talk about how much you've grown from the start of the season till now. Talk about maybe adjusting the offensive line a little bit. Like, what are some of the things you've been most impressed with in your team's growth? Maybe kind of more intangibles with the way they've developed over the season.
The first thing that comes to mind, Ravi, is selflessness. So you take guys like number 19, Pono, Dudois, and 34,
Baller.
Macklin Kennedy. So we played Pono at DN last year, but honestly, he's undersized. He wants to be a collegiate football player, so we try to do good by our kids. We played him at some linebacker, and he doesn't move well enough. Macklin went up to the D-line, and he's way too undersized, and so we have switched those guys, and there was no crying, there was no belly aching, they just did it. The movement of, Evan Van Arsdale has played right tackle, left tackle, right guard, and now he's at left guard. And no belly aching about it, just doing it, moving our receivers around. We're playing a 10th grader outside. We move Caprice into the slot. A little easier to get him the ball. Now the routes are a little bit different, but those are things that you have to do. And what you want when you make those, everybody says everything's about the team. Okay, but you see
till it comes at your expense.
Right, exactly. And so this is the first time in a while, we've been able to get that buy-in, and it's easy, guys. And I read Gary's tweet this morning, but 67-5, or it's not hard to get buy-in, because you're winning. And we didn't have any problems from 2015 to 2021. But when you get a loss here or there, then then the stuff really comes out, and DB knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it has been so much fun. They're a good group. Our young defensive staff, they're wired a little nuts, but they are fun.
I like it though. I like it. I liked him from the jump.
I gotta get them off the referees though, man. I had that bad rap forever, and I finally got that healed. And these guys are trying to kill these guys.
This is bizarro world. But I'll go all the way back to Central Bellevue West, and I'm like, hey, I know you're not going to check your phone, but I felt like your sideline demeanor helped you weather that storm, because that wasn't typical. That wasn't your typical sideline. You guys kept.
Yeah, I'm trying. Hey, we all grow. It took us to get 50, Damon. We got 50.
And I was like, hey, I'm not trying to give you your flowers while you're still breathing, but the sideline temperament mattered in that game.
I think part of it, and it sounds really, really strange, but turning 50, my personal children are getting older, so I've seen, a bunch of different coaches now, how they interact, and not that, I didn't have kids till I was 36. I was late in the game. So I think when you're looking at through a different lens, I think it helps. And at the end of the day, that first quarter of the Central game, we were getting woodshedded, man. What's it going to do? They're already getting beat down. And I was so proud of them for bouncing back and coming back and get that win. That win's looking better and better every week that goes by.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I told Ravi that's a good dangerous football team. Central.
Yep.
When we after that Friday night, and I told our guys, that team's better than the end of that score. But let me ask you something, because this is interesting. You talked about how you interact with kids and you motivate them and how they buy in. You're competing tonight against a legendary guy that gets his kids to play hard, right? They know he cares about them. What concerns you going into tonight when you look at this Omaha North team and what Coach Martin brings to the table?
You look back to the 12 years of Bellevue West football, we just had some epic battles with Omaha North, man. It started, you were there. I mean, it started so long ago, and all these games are always really, really fun. And it seems like it comes down to a punt return or a getting knocked out of the bounds at the 1 yard line or whatever it is. And, their kids are going to play so hard. They have really good athleticism, so it's a game that, you're not going to have the athletic advantage. I'll give it a push. They're significantly bigger than us, so we're hopefully our movement and things like that. But you're not going to out-motivate Larry Martin. So we did the Shrine Bowl one last time 2 years ago, and I was the deemed head coach, whatever. We were all a bunch of stud coaches there. But I asked Larry to give the pregame.
Oh, yeah.
And the dude is just, I mean, come on, man. I mean, the dude's just amazing. And you work for another guy that's really good at it, man. That West Side hype stuff, I watch it every week, man. I know it sounds silly, but I love to see what other schools are doing. And some guys really have a gift for that. And Larry definitely does. And his kids, and they play hard for him.
When you look, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Rob.
go ahead.
When you look at him, is it the offense or defense that is the greatest concern? Because, we talked about 12 and 11, and I mean, what concerns you?
11's really good.
He's
really
listen,
like him.
he's amazing.
Yeah, I really like him. But let's reference back to the Central game. Now, are we going to play football like we did in the first quarter? Or are we going to play it like we did the second, third, and fourth? Which quarter are we going to play like we did against Westside? We have been unable, in coaching, whatever it may be, we've been unable to play all three phases well at the same time, because when we do, we're really good. If we don't tackle well tonight, it's going to be long. It's going to be long. Cannon's a really good back. And Mikey, I've known Mikey since Mikey was in 5th grade. He's a Bellevue kid. But he can sling it now. We're hoping that we can get him rattled, because that has happened in the past. And then defensively, man, they jump. I mean, we did our math with all our stuff on Huddle. It's 55-45 with the 4-3 and 3-4. And so, yeah, that doesn't sound like anything hard, but, you're not playing tonight. Coach Shakora's not playing tonight. They're 15, 16, and 17-year-old kids playing tonight, and the communication that they have to have when they jump from an even to an odd front. So, and they're big. I'm interested to see what happens with Tyson Terry. All the rumors are out there. I'll believe it when I see it, because that dude is anytime you play against someone that eats small children for a snack before breakfast, you have to worry. So I'll believe it when I see it. But they still have some great guys. BJ Lewis, a good player. They got, I like that their defensive end 44 moves really well.
Yeah,
they got
he's
some
physical
really good,
too.
They got some good players.
Coach, we appreciate the time as always. We're gonna have to hang out sometime, because I need to get some like DB growing up stories from you. So
well, one thing I wanted to say one thing. I'm looking forward to seeing Todd. We've only known him since 9th grade. Omaha's like the smallest big city in the planet. It's good stuff, man. Oh, I got plenty if you really need it.
He does.
Oh yeah, I'm serious. I'll hit you up after the season. We can we can exchange some stories, Coach. I appreciate it. Good luck
Best
tonight.
wishes, Coach.
Man, thanks for having me on.
All right, buddy.
That's Coach Huffman from Bellevue West. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back.
be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Focus on us. We can't control the other team. It's the same message I said at UNI, the same message I said at UTEP, same message I say every week. The team that plays the best wins. It's not the team with the best roster. It's not the team with the best record. It's not the team who won last week. It's not the team that has the better music in the locker room. Just the team that plays better wins. So have a good week of preparation. Just be in the moment, one snap at a time. Don't worry about the scoreboard, and go play. And what I respect so much about this team that we're facing is, I think they've outscored opponents in the fourth quarter 80-17. That's a team that's, they're one-score ball games that they pull away from because they stay in the moment. But that's because they got that's a veteran team, a bunch of guys who've won a lot of football, and they know what it takes. And so I think our guys have gutted out 2 straight wins. They've had some big moments. They took a tough loss. They learned from that. And so we're just going to focus on us and just go out there and just play.
Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, SDB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We're joined now by our guy, Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska. Tim, what's going on, man?
Hey, not too much. How about y'all?
TV, what's up, buddy?
Hey, not too much. Excited for the weekend.
Man, can you get a gauge? I mean, you run a board. You guys see it. Can you get a gauge on the anxiety? Because I feel like there's like a few different worlds going on. There's they're not very good because of their strength of schedule. Let's prove it. There's only Indiana stats matter. I'm scared to death. And then there's how does the team feel? Because that's really all that matters. Like, what are you seeing the most of?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of and I think it ultimately, if you changed Indiana and you replace them with just a name, it replaced them in name with Wisconsin or Iowa or a program Nebraska's used to going up against where they're the underdog. I think the feelings are a little different, but I think it's hard for some people to wrap their heads around. Okay, this Indiana team is undefeated, they're legit. Nebraska's walking in as an underdog for this reason, but it's also a winnable game. Just like back in the mid 2010s or even any time before, you could point to Nebraska kind of walking into a Wisconsin or an Iowa when they're the underdog and being like, okay, there's a path to Nebraska winning here, but they are not going to be favored going into this game. I think the anxiety and a lot of the issues I've run into kind of are people that haven't really watched Indiana or don't believe that this Indiana team's good. And so for them, they feel like it's going to be an embarrassing thing if Nebraska loses. And more than anything, I think in general, the anxiety around this fan base is always about the what if and not about the what is,
Tim, I've had the hardest time the last 2 weeks, basically, since the last game ended and we started talking about Indiana, because I think that Indiana is a good football team. I also think the stats make us think there's something they're not, because I don't look at Indiana and say, hey, that's a top 10 offense, top 10 defense in the country. I think they're a good football team. But how do you, and I've asked a lot of people this, I haven't really gotten a good answer yet, so maybe you've got one. how do you weigh like the stats that we see that are kind of overwhelming or certainly can be versus, hey, the people you play impact the stats you put up?
Right. It's somewhere in between for me, and that's why I really think for me, I need to see it on Saturday just to figure out. I think Saturday's a good opportunity, and talking to some folks on the national level too, they see this game as a good opportunity to kind of gauge what both these teams are. I don't think anyone has a good read on what Nebraska can or is, or what Indiana is right now. And so I think this weekend is going to be a good gauge for both sides because, and even historically, Curt Cignetti has not faced a defense like Nebraska's. On the flip side of it, it's okay, Nebraska hasn't really faced an efficient offense to this level in a long time. So it's kind of a matchup of two things where something is bound to change, and I wouldn't get up in arms if Nebraska, gives up 25 plus points this weekend. I think this is the type of game where Nebraska ends up giving that up, but it comes in a good defensive performance regardless. This is just an offense that's found ways to put up points on everyone they go up against. This is a coach that's found ways to put up points against anyone he goes up against. I'm sure he's got some answers on Saturday, and I'm sure he's going to test Nebraska's defense. But again, more than anything, I think it's a good learning lesson for both teams to figure out who they are and where they stand in the conference.
TV, you're not going to believe this because there's only 3 orders or 3 choices you can put in sequence. But from Monday to today, we haven't had one repeatable sequence to this question. If Nebraska wants to win tomorrow, rank the order of importance of special teams, offense, and defense. What order do those have to fall in terms of playing well for Nebraska to win on Saturday?
I personally think it's offense first because I think this offense has to be able to keep up in the first place. I think regardless of how the defense plays, the offense is going to have to keep putting up points through 4 quarters for Nebraska to win.
Okay, let me stop you right there before you finish. The next answer, because we've had an offense first. Now the next answer after you finish the offense will be, has somebody said this before this week, or will it be completely different? No pressure. All right, finish the thoughts on the offense.
Yeah, offense is that. It's just yeah. I think Nebraska is going to have this. They're going to have to keep putting up points, and we're going to have to see this offense led by Dylan do it for 4 quarters in order to win. So I think the offense is the most important this weekend. The second, I think you have to go defense just because Nebraska's found ways. I'll say this too. Again, as weird and bad as the special teams has been all year, Nebraska's found ways to kind of overcome it. And I feel like this is another game where this is the type of game where you can overcome some special teams mistakes. I think more than anything, Matt Rule talked about earlier in the week, and I keep coming back to this too. I think Nebraska's going to have to steal a possession or two. And I think that's where the defense comes up, because you have to force a turnover somewhere. So that's why I think it's more important there, because in this game too, I really think you can't settle for field goals either way, missed or not. You can't settle for that. You have to go and try and put up as many touchdowns as you can to try and counter this Indiana offense. So I think it's offense, defense, and then special teams in that order, just because of, again, relatively to what Nebraska is right now, you're not getting much out of special teams either way. Besides Brian Buschini, what can I expect to be really, really good tomorrow?
Tim, do we not give enough credit to when we're talking about special teams can cost you a game? Because we've heard that a lot this week, right? Do we not give enough credit to hey, if you score touchdowns in the red zone, special teams becomes a dramatically smaller factor, especially the part of special teams where Nebraska has struggled?
Yeah, because if you really look at it, if you completely eliminate, field goals out of the equation because you're scoring in the red zone,
the extra points have been fine, right? The extra points have been fine. You've had a couple punts blocked, but that's it, right?
Yep. Yeah. Like that's the thing. For the most part, everywhere else they're at least okay. But like field goal kicking is like the real disaster right now. But everything else has been at the very least. It's like okay, it's mediocre at worst. Like, but at the high end, it's like Bushini's punts are good. Like so. I think the rest of the unit is fine. It's just that the field goal unit is such a disaster, it brings down everything else.
TV, when you're looking at, and it's interesting because Nebraska defensively, I think, I look at their statistics and I look at who they've played and kind of what I think they are. And they have really good stats nationally. Conversely, we look at Indiana's offense and we look at their stats and look at who they played nationally and we think, they have a really good offense. Why is it in the frontal lobe that it's Indiana's offense that makes us nervous and not Nebraska's defense that gives us confidence?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just.
You don't understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean. More than I think it's just that the fan syndrome, like of what the last couple of years have looked like, of everything. It's like again, like it's like okay, well, we're the underdogs on paper, and so it's like okay, well, we're facing this big bad. Again, I don't think this big bad is as big of a bad as everyone thinks. Like I do think, again, this is a game where Nebraska is going to it's going to be a level playing field in my opinion. Like again, and I'll say this too. There's a world in my head where either team pulls away, and I really do believe there's a real world, and that may be hard for people to believe, but I think there's a world here where Nebraska wins 35-24 or something. Like there's a world where Nebraska pulls away as well.
So
that's.
Do you
I don't
believe?
think we've heard that this week.
No, I don't think we have either. Do you believe that because of what DB was saying there, of like you have confidence that the defense might be the defensive statistics from Nebraska might be more real than the offensive statistics from Indiana?
Yeah, I think there's something to that, and I also think there's something to the thing I come back to a lot this week too is this Indiana team is not trailed. It's under Kurt Cinetti, just in general as a program, or Kurt Cinetti as a coach. He doesn't face these like massive deficits he has to claw back from very often. If Nebraska, and I don't think Nebraska's going to be in a place where they get him into like a 21-0 hole or a 3-score hole or anything, but get him in a 2-score hole at some point. They've not faced adversity like that this season. I need to see them face that for me to believe that this Indiana offense and this Indiana team is legit. I think that's the next step for them is coming back from a deficit and facing that type of deficit. So I wonder, Nebraska comes out on the road and they draw first blood. How does Indiana respond? And that's a world where I can see, okay, hey, Nebraska kind of gets an early lead and kind of rides it out just because, they face an Indiana team that hasn't really been dealt with a whole lot of adversity this year.
Tim, you're kind of talking about dealing with adversity, and that makes me think of managing emotions, right? How do you think that's going to play into the factors of this game? Because I know as Nebraska fans, we think a lot about Nebraska managing the emotions of either being on the road or playing a ranked team that they haven't beat a ranked team in 8 years or trying to get bowl eligible for the first time in 8 years. But on the other side of it, you've got a bunch of guys at Indiana that have never been on this level of stage in their careers. I know JMU had that college game day visit last year, but Indiana's kind of the national darlings. That's a totally different type of emotional management that they're going to have to go through. How much do you expect that to factor in to the game tomorrow?
Honestly, not much. Like I do believe, like I think teams embrace the head coach's mentality, and for a team that's led by primarily guys that came with Kurt from JMU, I think this team reflects the head coach and just they enter every game confident. They enter every game. They're pretty they say it. Undaunted is their like their catchphrase. They're like it's their word. And I think they really embrace that. So they've had the opportunity to stay quote unquote undaunted all year just because they get off to that early lead and they kind of ride it out. But what happens when they are, like I say, like what happens when they are punching them out? Like I think that's the big thing for me is I don't think there's going to be emotions or nerves for them leading into the game. It's just in a big game like this, in a big moment, you find yourself trailing, you find yourself in a hole. What do you do? And that goes for both sides too. I think Nebraska, has an opportunity to kind of right the ship a little bit after, Purdue, they were in that 0-0 like slugfest, but have an opportunity to bounce back. And we talk baby steps all year. This is an opportunity for baby steps in winning against an offense that's going to keep putting up points and winning against a ranked opponent. And I think this is an opportunity for Nebraska to take those 2 steps.
Tim, when you're looking at individual matchups and kind of maybe not so much the recruiting profile, but the talent, where do you see the biggest advantage for either team when you look at skill, a group versus a particular group?
Yeah, I think it's Nebraska's defensive line versus Indiana's offensive line. Like, I think Indiana's offensive line is good but not great, and I think Nebraska's D-line, this is a D-line that challenges them in so many different ways, that has depth to challenge them in a couple of different ways. And then you think about like everything at the multiple levels too. Like, I think the other, like, I think if you were to look at another, like, I guess matchup where I think this game is decided too. And the other one is the secondary. Like, Indiana's wide receivers, like that's where it's flipped a little bit. Indiana's receivers, I think, are better than they've been given credit for. And Nebraska's DBs, I think when they challenge and spread them out the way Indiana does, where Indiana has 4 receivers out there, challenging Nebraska's whoever that third and fourth corner is, or who that third or fourth person in coverage is, I think that's another matchup I'm keeping an eye on as well, because I think that's where Indiana's 4th receiver, in my opinion, is going to be better than Nebraska. Whoever that 4th DB out there is in coverage, I think Indiana has the edge there. But up front, I think Nebraska's got the edge in the trenches. I think on both sides of the line, in my opinion, I think they've got the advantage in the trenches, because I do think Indiana up front defensively is a little small.
So, Tim, we're talking with Tim Verghese from Inside Nebraska. Tim, I'm thinking about, the players on the edge for Indiana and kind of similar teams that Nebraska maybe has faced. Like, where would you put Indiana outside the numbers and kind of on the edge versus a team like Illinois, who we know they've got really good receivers, or Colorado, who's obviously got all that talent on the outside? Like, is Indiana comparable to them? Because I think you're right. I think the name brand is having people struggle with maybe how good some of these players might be for Indiana.
Yeah, I think the wide receiver room and if you're talking truly outside the numbers, like even DB talent on both sides, like I think wide receiver DB talent is somewhere in between Illinois and Colorado. Like the you don't have the ceiling, you don't have a Travis Hunter level player, or even like a Jimmy Horn level receiver, but Elijah Surratt's legit, and on the other side,
he's a good player.
Yes, really good. And on the other side, D'Angelo Ponce, I love D'Angelo Ponce. Like that's the type of corner I love. But receiver, beyond him, it's Miles Price. I think he's legit. He's a guy that I covered in high school. I really like him. Omar Cooper, I think he was a top 150 recruit. Like he was a guy that had some legit pedigree behind him. There's guys here, and you think about this Indiana team, like Donovan McCulley is not playing. If they had Donovan McCulley, I think this game's a little different too, because that's another guy that I think challenges Nebraska in a different way. But right now, I think it's somewhere between that Illinois and Colorado range, where the high end is legit, the depth is legit. I think they're deeper than Illinois is. That's where they're above Illinois. Is I think they've got 3-4 receivers, whereas I think Illinois, like I think those top 2 were legit, and then beyond there, it's relatively like Jags relative to the rest of the conference. And Jags, I'm assuming it's been used on the show before, but just the guy is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So lots and lots and lots of consternation, hand-wringing about RPOs and what Indiana's been able to do. And I think we're kind of missing something. Now, this is just my 2 cents from putting together defenses and being a defensive guy, but I think we're kind of missing the point. We talk about the stress that it puts on outside linebackers, but that's not really the thing. I think for Tony White and these guys, if you can stop inside zone with your box 5, like your D-line and your inside linebackers, you can scheme to keep your adjusters or your outside linebackers and safeties free. It doesn't have to be overly complicated if your D-line can stop the run. Do you kind of get the sense that when you talk about Nebraska's D-line versus Indiana's O-line, that they can neutralize the RPO game if they can stop the run with 5?
I believe so, just because I think you saw the adjustments from Illinois to Rutgers, and the other part of the Illinois game that concerned me a little bit, that I want to see how the team adjusts from, is the way the linebackers kind of looked in RPOs and the way the defense kind of looked at RPOs, where like I always think back to Illinois running an RP, like the strip sack or the strip that John Bullock had, and how on that play the slant's coming over him and he's just kind of stuck in place reading the QB's eyes, and that's where you don't want to be is flat-footed. You want to commit one way or the other kind of in those type of situations. Where Nebraska, I think, gets some help here is instead of John out there, in space trying to cover, like both the run and there, I think Javen Wright's going to be in that specific linebacker spot where his length comes into focus, where he can kind of jump up and bat some of those balls down, or at least get into the throwing window a little bit to force the handoff. And yeah, I think Nebraska is better trained. I think what we've seen this year has been they get challenged one way, and then a week or so later, Tony White responds and has an answer for that. So I'm sure, after getting challenged by RPOs early this season, I think it helps that Nebraska's faced a couple of teams that have done it to them already, that I think they're going to have some solutions here. And John Bullock talked about it earlier too, and I think it's an important thing. They've talked about trying to disguise coverage, and whether they do it or not, just the idea that
pre-snap movement. You're right. Yep. Pre-snap movement.
Just the idea that it's going to be out there is going to give Curtis Rourke a second to pause, hold on to the ball for
100%.
a second, and could potentially force some mistakes.
100%.
Tim, I like that. Hey, just a couple minutes left here with you. We've gone through a lot of the kind of factors in this game, and you've mentioned a couple different ways you think this game could end up going. I think the first person this week or in the last 2 weeks to mention you think Nebraska could win by double digits.
You just kind of slid that in there, TV.
Stealing my thunder a little bit there, TV, but that's okay. I'm going to let it slide because we look the same. But, Tim, I'm curious if you could nail it down to about 3 things that you are going to be that you think are going to be the indicators for how this game goes, what would those be?
Indicators. Okay. One would be, I come back to this too. This is game 7 for Dylan Raiola. This is week after the bye. They've had an opportunity to kind of sit down and look at what they do well on offense, what they don't do well. I think they're going to come out with a game script that feeds into what Dylan does well, what the offense does well, get him some easy wins, build up some confidence. I think a key here, is with 6 games under his belt, I think this is a game where Dylan kind of takes that next step, or has to kind of take that next step for Nebraska to win.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, because I think this team goes as Dylan goes, and or the team can go as Dylan goes in a shootout type game like this. So keeping an eye on what he does, because if this is a game where he starts to kind of light the world on fire a little bit and kind of gets hot early, I think that would be very ideal for Nebraska heading into the backstretch of the season. Second, the running game. Can you get the running game going? Can you hold on to the ball? Can you manage time of possession a little bit? Steal some possession time away from Curtis Rourke, and then defensively, stealing a turnover. I say that often, but I think stealing a possession and getting a turnover or 2. I currently, my bold prediction for the weekend is Nebraska comes down with 2, just because it's going to be Tommy Hilcier right out there. I think there are going to be some throwing opportunities. I think Javen Wright, again, him factoring into the RPO game and the challenges he presents there. I think Nebraska's going to have an opportunity to get some turnovers. Can they come down with it? So I think those are the 3 most important things for me the pivotal moments for this game is, I think it's finally time, or this is the type of game, and going to the back to the season, I think this is finally the time where it's go win a game for us.
That's our guy, Tim Verghese, Inside Nebraska. Tim, we appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the game this weekend.
Sir, we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Tim.
Don't forget, make sure you get out to unionomaha.com to get tickets to their final home match of the season. That is October 26th, just a week from tomorrow. unionomaha.com. It'll be Fan Appreciation Night. Get your tickets. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla. More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
I'm only focused on the game. You know, I answered that question last year and never got there. So I'm just going to focus on the football and make sure our guys are locked in. You know, that they're all in on everything that we're asking them to do. And it's been a great week. So to me, it's just about us playing well versus a great team.
We're halfway through the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. And I know it's a big sports weekend. Lots of really good college football weekends, good NFL weekend.
I wouldn't go that far with college.
Oh, there's some good games. It's not last week, but I think it's a really good weekend. Got our guy Illinois and Michigan playing.
Stand on business then.
Got Texas
Quietly.
and Georgia.
Hey, Evian, not to be confused with bottled water. Evans says if Illinois messes around and gets a dub,
yeah,
they're the legitimate playoff talk contenders that starts with an I.
That's right. Get Indiana out of here. Nebraska's about to expose them.
Can I ask you something?
What's up?
So you've listened to Coach Rule.
Quite a bit.
Matt Rule, quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Last 2 years, year and a half, whatever, year and 3/4.
However long he's been here.
Do you hear what do you hear when you listen to him talk this week?
Pretty matter of fact.
Is it care to elaborate? Like is it different? Do you feel like he's confident? Do you feel like he knows something we don't know?
I think there's been a couple times.
This is like an opinion piece. This is like an op-ed.
That's what I'm good at. That's where it's my sweet spot.
I'm gonna let you cook because I have a feel.
So I think there's been a couple times this year where he's been a little bit more straight to the point, a little more matter of fact game week, where other times he'll get a little more philosophical. He'll kind of indulge us a little bit more in the media. And I think I don't know if I get a really good feel on how he thinks the team is mentally based on that. I generally more think of it how he feels about the media at any given point. That's generally how I take it. I think there is some, I don't know what the right word is. I think there maybe is a little bit of, he's kind of over some of the narratives, I think, and doesn't want to feed into those anymore. That's how I take a lot of when he goes a little bit more matter of fact, when he goes a little bit more straight to the point. I think sometimes he's like, hey, there's some narratives out there that I don't buy into. I don't want my guys buying into that are being sort of perpetuated. And so we're going to stay straight to the point and not feed into those at all.
Yeah. So for me, I'm totally speculating. So I don't want the fan base to get their hopes up one way or another. He's coming across. He's never been this complimentary. Right?
I did notice that of Indiana.
He started out the presser with statistics and
they should be a top 10 team in the country.
And then this week it was, it's a really, 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 really good football team. He's talked about. He's been overly effusive with praise. And he always closes it with something simple like, now we'll see. Or we get the opportunity. Or, now we just got to go play.
You know what it reminds me of? There was one other game he was like this.
Colorado.
It was Colorado.
He comes, to me, he comes across, I asked you last week when he spoke during the bye week, and I go, was he too over the top?
In his praise of Indiana?
Or does that what he and I'm reading because I'm certainly not gonna there's boundaries, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna ask him real time.
Hey man, you just blow smoke. It's totally not how I would say it, but anyway.
Yeah.
But he comes across as somebody that knows something that we don't. Usually I'm okay with having a good beat on that. I go back to infamously there's been a couple I've been right about. When I told the guys in my former life after Bielema was presser when Nebraska plays Wisconsin, I was like, yeah, that guy's sitting on something fat. He knows something we don't know. It comes across listening to this staff like they know something we don't know. That's what I feel.
Is it?
But what I may be confusing it with is I can't wait. We have the next opportunity to silence critics, right? Like,
I mean, you bring up a good point that
this is just my own.
Sure.
I'm an empath, right? So I'm just
trying to get a feel.
Trying to get a feel.
I will say the thing that it does remind me the most, the game that reminds me the most, is Colorado, where he's like overly effusive in the praise. Now, at the time with Colorado, I thought it was, hey, I'm not going to say anything that could be misconstrued as bulletin board material.
Yeah, but you also know that he didn't have
retrospect-
as good a pulse on his team then,
Right.
as he does now.
Although I do think he had a pretty good pulse on how that
Yeah,
game was
he
gonna
did
go.
say that. He did tell me pregame they beat their head in.
Yeah, so like I think he knew.
Which I was like.
But real time, I thought it was, hey, I'm just not going to give him anything that they could even consider to be talking trash about Dion or Shador or whoever, right? But look in retrospect and go, oh, maybe he knew something we don't. This is the most similar we've heard him sound to that. In real time now, the only other thing I'm thinking as a possibility is kind of what Tim talked about a little bit there, right? With, hey, this isn't a brand name good football team, but it is a good football team, right? Maybe he's bringing up the stats and being overly effusive in his praise to help remind his guys, because we believe he talks to his guys through us sometimes, right? To remind his guys, hey, I don't care that it says Indiana. I don't care that we're going to Bloomington and not to Ann Arbor. This is a good football team.
Yeah.
We've got to be dialed for it, right? So I could definitely see it the way you're talking about because it does remind me of Colorado. I also think it could be, hey, I've got to remind my guys that it doesn't matter what it says on their helmet. This team can play.
The only thing exciting about traveling today, considering I can't find any place to eat, which I'm trying to figure out ahead of time.
In the booming metropolis of Bloomington, Indiana?
And apparently, according to Evian, best wishes to me finding a good place to eat in Bloomington. But I am curious. I love getting a feel.
Yeah.
Like it's part of it's the quiet part of competition that I really, really like trying to get a vibe pregame. And
you think you'll get that on the plane a little bit on how guys are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
you typically do?
Yeah. And it started a long time ago.
You get a good sense, though?
Yeah, and actually it was a negative catalyst that started the whole thing. It was when Arizona State ran through our warm-up lines in Tempe. And so I started paying a lot because up until that point, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's whatever.
Because
we're gonna do what we do.
In other situations, if somebody had ran through your warm-up line, like heads would have been busted. Is that what I'm understanding?
So whatever.
Yeah.
Like revisionist history's bats 1,000. So I'm not going to get into that. I'm just saying, like, I think I have a better understanding. Like you can tell during, I don't care what you can tell during warm-ups before we take the field on how bad or how much teams want to be there.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time in the locker room. And I think other teams do it too. Now, sometimes there's quiet confidence and people don't say anything. Everybody has kind of their manner in which they get ready. But the more you understand your product, the more you like. I could walk into this facility and you know my vibe, right? You're around me enough.
Yeah.
See, I think it's like that in sports too.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, it's just
so
at the end of the day, it's just people, right?
Yeah. That right.
So whether it's you're on a football field or you're in your office or whatever,
saying, like I would feel great if this was just X's and O's. I think I could peg this thing. So because I know how they want to play.
That's the same thing I said with Colorado. If Nebraska can make this about football, Nebraska wins that game by double digits.
So to that point, if the more Nebraska can make this about football, the more I like
the better
Nebraska.
you feel.
I just can't peg the emotion yet.
Yeah. And
that's usually the great equalizer or unequalizer, right?
On either side, right?
Because
you won't
anybody that's actually studied Indiana, they just do what they do. It looks very similar. Now, who does it within those confines? To their credit, it's somebody different every week.
Sure.
But conceptually,
they're not going to trick you a bunch.
It's pretty similar.
Yeah.
Although I do like some of their personnel packages, like their groupings.
Sure. Yeah.
But
schematically, you have a good idea what
I
they're
think
do.
The thing that makes Indiana is their efficiency. And you're efficient because you know who you are.
You got the identity.
You know who you are and what you're doing.
And you've
because efficient doesn't always mean
effective.
Yeah, you get the desired out.
Yeah.
You get positive outcomes.
Right.
Efficient just means whatever you're doing, you do it at that level.
Yeah. Right.
Right. It's
but
like
a good way you can mess up efficiency.
like you can be efficient poorly.
Yeah.
Right. You practice poorly. You play poorly. That's pretty efficient.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
It's maxing out the outcome that you've earned.
Yep.
Is efficiency, right? One thing that can mess up efficiency, if it's on the positive side, is if Nebraska's D-line can wreck shop. That'll make Rourke inefficient in a hurry.
That's the first thing you want to look at is how Nebraska's box 5 deals with O-line, running back, run game. If they do that well, they can defend RPO.
What's the one game Nebraska didn't play well this year?
Illinois.
What did we see about the defensive line?
Yeah, they got worked.
Wasn't there.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Well, they do a tremendous job with their line games and twist games. You know, they've never trailed, so they've had a lead in every game, and they're able to come out and just attack you and rush you. They've got a great defense, great design. He's an excellent edge rusher. He's got speed to power. He can beat you with the inside move. He can take the edge. A lot of those guys who have all that, they can't also take the edge. He can take the edge, and they do a great job with some of their twist 3-man games, you know, bringing him up and under. So, we'll see all of that. You know, so you take 6, you take 41. 99 is one of my favorite players I've seen who came from James Madison with them as an interior 3 technique. Twitchy. The nose is a big, powerful man who can push the pocket. So they have an excellent D-line, excellent pass rush.
Hey, make sure you get out to Baxter Arena this weekend as well. It's UNO's home openers for hockey. They got a couple big wins last weekend in Vegas, a couple of ranked teams. Start the season off 2-0. They've got Augustana tonight and tomorrow at Baxter Arena. Make sure you get out there and make sure you find our Hurrdat Sports table. We're selling Omaha Mavericks hockey yearbooks. Those things, I just saw them a couple days ago. We just got them in. They're incredible. Make sure you go check those out. Go see our fine friends will be out there getting those out to people during the game. But just as importantly, more importantly, get out to these games. This could be a very, very good Omaha Mavericks hockey team.
It helps when I think the biggest Omaha hockey fan I know is probably our boss.
Yeah, I think
deep down, I think that's probably his favorite.
Oh, I think so. I think in terms of like love for the university, you and him might be the people that I know that care about the university
Omaha the most.
as a general the most.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You guys roll deep with the Mavericks.
Like Omaha. Dude, I had some gear on.
We love Omaha.
I do.
I know. I love Omaha.
It just permeates.
My guy Evan Porter's the baseball coach over there.
It just permeates my mom's house.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah. We love University of Nebraska Omaha. Those are guys.
She sent me a message yesterday. She's incredible.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's a little sleepy, so she missed some things. So she wasn't quite sure where I was.
Okay.
And I wanted, my heart of hearts, I was like, oh, I'm 50, I'll be fine. But, I mean, she's still a mom.
I was going to say, never stops momming.
So I'd hit her back with a little heart emoji, kept it pushing. I didn't give too much detail. I'm good.
Just keep on pushing.
Yeah, there's no sense in worrying her.
That's all right. No, it's mom's going to mom, That's how it goes. So there's we didn't really get to the Tony Bennett thing.
Yeah, because you were fanning
me.
You were fanning T-Max Flames, and then you went
like
into
Dakota,
your Jason Green.
Like Dakota fanning?
No, by the way. Wow.
Weird. No, listen, you brought up Creighton and Jason Green and Miller North guys. That's on you.
I brought up Isaac Trout. Then you
brought
Jason...
up Tim Cannon. You can't bring up Miller North and Creighton in the same segment and expect me to stay dialed.
Yeah, that's on me.
See, like you gotta know your co-host here.
Like I tell our players, KYA. Know your audience.
Yeah.
Can't press that guy. Hey, better give him a step.
That's right.
Hey.
Start bringing up Miller North and Creighton with me. We're gonna get derailed in a hurry.
Honk.
Yeah, 100%. I embrace that.
It's okay.
I embrace that.
Passion is good.
I'm really interested to see what he says today because your guy T-Mac brought up a good point. Brought up a really good point.
The AAU thing was a super slam dunk.
The AAU thing, hey, it's all cool when we're making money, but when the players start making money. And listen, I get it's messy right now. And if that's all you want to say, be like, hey, I totally believe these guys should get paid, and I'm glad that it's happening. Just for me, it's too messy, and I don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine with that as long as it's not, hey, this, we got to get this thing under control and being all self-righteous about it, because that's what we hear a lot. Right? Like, that's the Dabo Sweeney pact. He said he was going to retire when they started getting paid, and he's still collecting that paycheck from Clemson. So I don't know what happened there. I would love to see Dabo get out of here. But,
wow.
I hate Dabo.
Oh, I'm well aware.
Not a Dabo guy.
Well aware.
Not a fan. And it's not because Clemson and Florida State play in the same conference. I just don't like him as a person. He could be coaching at Alaska Anchorage, and I wouldn't be a fan. But I believe that's a D2 program.
I know, and right around the corner from where shout out Trajan Langdon grew up.
That's right.
Yeah,
big Duke guy. I forgot.
No,
you
I'm
love
not.
Duke.
No, I'm not a big Duke
Trajan
guy.
Langdon, Shane Battier,
Cherokee Parks, Johnny Dawkins, Tommy Amaker,
Those are
Lou
your
Aldang.
guys.
I love them all.
Corey Maggette.
Huge Hurley guy.
Oh, you love
We had
all the
Shane
Hurleys.
on one of the shows before.
Yeah, just say former life, Shane. Keep
Former
it brief.
life.
Shane,
Keep it moving.
Jay
but anytime we
Williams.
can have a Shane on, that's good.
Yeah, I was a big Jay Will guy.
Jay Williams, you know.
Yes.
You love those guys.
Yeah. Robert Bricky.
I don't remember Robert Bricky. You big Jay Billis guy?
He's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's aged better.
You like him more now than when he was playing?
Even early in his
Media
broadcasting career.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I can buy that.
Because he's not, he's old guard and he's coached a certain way, but he's like adjusted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's changed with the times.
To the times.
Unlike apparently Tony Bennett doesn't want to do.
Yeah, I can't see Tony Bennett on X like tweeting out a rap lyric every day like Billis.
No, that seems unlikely.
Yeah.
That does not seem to be in Tony Bennett's. Now, he might tweet out some Tony Bennett lyrics.
Or rocking like the Air Force Ones with like his double-breasted suit.
Time to go to work.
All right.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see because I don't think Tony Bennett's the last. Him and Jay Wright are big ones, obviously, because they won national titles.
But look at respective schools, though. So I think it needs context.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right? Because Villanova and Virginia were very similar in their approach under Jay Wright and Tony Bennett.
Okay.
The my way, the highway. We get a few good players, but we're about development, and a lot of our guys kind of fly. I mean, the national prominence in which I felt like Jay Wright started to recruit didn't happen until later in his career, even though he was cranking out pros.
Well, so there was two different phases of his recruiting.
That's
career,
what I'm
right?
saying.
But I mean, there's two different phases where he got really good players because after the initial Final Four run, he got just about anybody he wanted, and they were not good fits for what he wanted to do. Then he kind of reverted back to, hey, let's get guys my way or the highway, right? And then he started getting the very best version of the guys that did what he wanted to do. And that's when they started winning and killing people, right?
I feel that's a lot like what happened in Charlottesville, at least in my opinion. I mean, Hunter was so he just sprinkled them in.
I don't think he was as successful at it as Jay Wright.
No, but his program was really, really good.
It was. But I think his program was his system was so specific that it was really hard to get guys that could score that wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Right? And
maybe.
I think it was a less fun way to play basketball than what Villanova did. And I think it was harder to get guys that could score. And you saw them struggle with that kind of throughout his tenure. And when he had anybody that could score, they didn't lose ever, right? But you asked me this question yesterday about what kind of job Virginia is.
I did ask you that, didn't I?
And I thought about it a lot. Like, my gut tells me it's a good job. ACC job. They've got history. They've had different periods in their history where they weren't dependent on one coach to be nationally prominent or national title contenders, right? Did it back in the 80s. Did it again under Tony Bennett. Like, they've had different periods where they've been really prominent nationally. Got a pretty good recruiting base.
I mean, was Kyle Guy starting for a lot of teams probably?
I mean, he's a good
Did it seem like there were a lot of Kyle Guys out there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seemed like there was a Kyle Guy on a lot of different rosters.
And you had some guys, who was the point guard?
Ty Jerome?
Jerome, yes. That I don't know that a lot of people would have looked at him and said, oh, that's a really high-level basketball player for a national champion.
A lot of people had Diakites.
Yeah. Not a lot of people had DeAndre Hunters. He was kind of the difference maker.
Right.
But he had a lot of dudes that ended up playing professionally that probably wouldn't have gotten a lot of burn other places.
A lot of people had Braxton Keys.
Yeah. That's a place, though, I think you look at location, you look at conference. They're a football school, so they've got money that like a Villanova doesn't. I think that's a good job. I know it's demanding academically, but I think that's a good job.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, what am I missing for the downside?
Pageantry. Like, how appealing is it when you say, I represent the University of Virginia?
Cool factor.
Yeah.
There's no cool factor there.
So I don't
say you're
know.
going to Duke. You say you're going to Kentucky. You say you're going to North Carolina.
Yeah, just look at the teams in that conference.
Yeah. It's not a sexy team.
No. And it hasn't. So
Maybe
when
that's
I say,
why Benoni Bennett had to play.
So when
the way
I
he
say
did.
banditry, it hasn't had a sexy MO.
Yeah.
It's taken a particular kind of
workmanlike.
pitch. Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. I can buy that.
Right. So I think that's what you'll have to overcome. And
Does it have to though? Does it have to play? Can it become sexy?
I don't know. I don't know. Shane, can you let the? Oh, he's not here yet. I think I just saw Sautter pull up.
No, that was more ghosts.
It just takes. I think it's going to take a certain kind of a certain kind of coach.
So I'm not saying this guy in particular, but this is a guy that we've seen go to non-sexy places, play an appealing style of basketball, and recruit at a really high level. Like, does a Bruce Pearl type make Virginia
How
sexier?
many different places can Pearl reinvent himself?
I don't know.
And what is the advantage fiscally for like collectives to go from Auburn to Virginia? Does he got a body in there? What is he doing?
I
in the
don't
trunk?
know. Man, who knows what's going on over there? He knows where some of the bodies are buried,
He
apparently.
was mad about something last night on the sidelines. I have no idea what. I was like, bro, I got to get into the locker room. He just kept talking.
We'll talk to Mike Sautter coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. But in the meantime, maybe even during this break here, go to mentoromaha.org. Get signed up to be a big brother, big sister, or big couple. We're coming towards the end of October, and they're making a big push to get more bigs into their system so that they can get these kids that have been waiting sometimes for over a year to find a big, get them matched up with a mentor. Mentoromaha.org is where you get it done. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Mike Sautter from Hurrdat Sports and NAB Preps coming up next.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
This is probably a top 10 football team we're facing, right? Just Coach Nettie's done an amazing job. Quarterback's absolutely fantastic. They got playmakers.
Huskers go I formation. Raiola under center. They are bunched up around the line of scrimmage. Hand off to Dell. Dell off the right side. Touchdown, Nebraska. Dante Dowdell finds Pater. 6-0 Big Red. Let those balloons loose.
You're going to need every corner you got versus this outfit. I mean, they got great wideouts.
Crowd making some noise here at Lincoln. Caliac Manis gets lined up. Huskers back away. Snap back. Being flushed out of the pocket. Rolling downfield. Looking. Throw. Pass intercepted. Picked off by Huskers at the 27-yard line. Marquise Buford with an INT. And Huskers will take over at their own 27-yard line.
But at the end of the day, it just still comes down to being in the moment. That's the hardest thing for all of us, right? Like being in the moment. And so in the moment, anticipating it and then making the right decision, that's the secret sauce.
Raiola's going to go under center. Tight formation left and right. Motions back. Turn. Inside handoff. It goes to Nair to the outside to the 5, and he is in. Touchdown to Iron Bar. It's an Iron Bar off the right sideline. Trap play almost to the right. 6 points Nebraska. They lead it 13-0.
I think you're going to see a lot of unpredictability.
3rd and 6, actually the final verdict. Caliac Manis again throwing in the flat. Pass knocked away. Nearly picked off by Sierra Wright. Or he did. Sierra held on to it. It's a pick at midfield for Sierra Wright. How about that?
I try not to look at the lines and all that, but I'm pretty sure we're probably the underdog, right? So I much prefer that. I love to turn on game day and seeing them all pick the other team.
The hobbling Brian Buschini is in punt formation. Huskers have had 2 punts blocked. Snap it back to the fake. Buschini throws it down the field. Matt is caught. Drives at the 40-yard line by Jalen Lloyd. It's a first down. Huskers on a fake, and Buschini rifles a pass to Jalen Lloyd all the way to the Rutgers 37-yard line.
Kicking off hour number 3 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Mike Sautter joining us here now as well on the Pillar Exterior stage. What's up, Mike?
Not much. What is that? It looks like a dog biscuit.
It's called a shortbread cookie.
Oh, wow.
They're delicious.
It's like you didn't steal from your dogs, did you? What was you trying to imply, man? You love those dogs.
Yeah, I would. I'm more likely to give my dogs human food than they are to eat.
He buys the pepperoni from Costco because it's fresh and in bulk.
I do buy them
pepperonis.
Yeah, for their pills.
Oh wow.
So they can eat the pills and be happy, and I don't have to, deal with it. It's good.
I put Biggie's allergy pill in a little, those little bites, those little.
Oh, like little pockets.
Yeah, I just
little pill pockets.
Yeah, the little jerky bites.
They love the pepperonis.
How's Jet?
He's good.
Yeah.
He just lays around, man.
Is he big?
That dude don't do. Yeah,
that's a bulldog, right? That's a bulldog life, just laying around.
81. 82.
You got him for free though, right?
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, it was a gift from my sister-in-law.
Was there revenue exchanged?
No, but there's been a lot of revenue exchanged to the vet for that dog.
So that's what, I was gonna say something slick, but I get what you're saying now.
I'm talking 2 eye surgeries
because you did come off some dinero.
Three eye surgeries.
This dude was fretting. He's like, man, I'm at to get a second job. I was like, man, I got pet insurance. I ain't got pet insurance.
We got pet insurance.
I was like,
now.
look, that's what I was about to say. I said, second insurance. I said, Mike, I'm telling you,
Bulldogs are
get
We
the
got
pet insurance.
Bulldogs are expensive.
After 2 eye surgeries, and then the third one, which was
What's the
an
deductible?
eye specialist.
It's like a 800,000.
I don't know.
million.
You don't know?
My wife does all that. I don't do that.
Wow.
He's like Bert Kreischer over here. Doesn't deal with his own money. It's all right.
Hey,
She had to call and cancel a car wash thing for me yesterday
Yeah.
because I didn't want to call and do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bless. She is.
How old are you?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Oh, no, I listen.
I'll be 45
It's
next year.
it's amazing.
Next month I'll be 45.
It's amazing.
Old enough to
once
be
a
an adult, make
once a
calls?
month, I ask him how he pulls it off, and he says the same thing every time. I don't know.
On a wing and a prayer.
Hey, is Terry Holland a good coach?
Terry Holland.
Yeah, basketball. A little before your time, maybe.
Yeah, I don't have a frame of reference.
We had Ralph Sampson, so that.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about Jeff Jones?
Yeah.
What about Pete Gillen?
Pete Gillen's pretty good coach. He's all right.
Okay. What about?
He's a mediocre broadcaster, but
What about Dave Lato?
Dave Lato, I don't think he's a very good coach.
What about Tony Bennett?
I think Tony Bennett's a very good coach.
Is Virginia a good job, Sautter?
Virginia's I've been there. Their facilities are fantastic.
Is it a good
Their
job?
arena's great. Their practice facility connected to the arena. Literally, you walk through a hall. It's fantastic.
Is Virginia a good job?
I mean, it's close enough to like DC in that but it's hard to. It's kind of hard to
I'm
get
talking
to.
to Shane.
It's kind of hard to get to. I think it's an okay.
It's a
job.
great area.
Yeah.
Why
I
are
mean,
you-
the city is
Why
great.
are you laughing? Do you like to see me stressed?
No,
I think
I feel like I'm
I
talking
think
to
it's an
Shane.
okay job. I think
It
it's an
took
okay
you all
job.
that time to just arrive at okay.
Him winning a national title there is that's a feat.
That's an outlier, you think?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's the consistent ceiling for Virginia? If it's an okay job and that's an outlier,
Like
Sweet 16s.
Make the tournament.
Before we get to high school, can I ask one more question? It's all encompassing. So these coaches, because I clearly think Alabama is the outlier in football, but of these coaches that may be, quote unquote, over the NIL and the ever-changing landscape of college athletics. Is that pretty good?
That frame is
pretty good.
Did you like my voice?
I
I don't
like
know
that.
whose voice that is, but it's not mine.
That's the concerned coach's voice.
Concerned coach's voice. It seems like it's going to be a particular kind of school that will get out first.
Get out of the game.
Yep. I don't know why Bama did it, because Bama can always Bama. But you could make the case outside of the blip for Stallings when he in 92
They
with
weren't
that
very
T
good.
group. They went through a ton of coaches.
Yeah.
So for Bama's coaching history, it goes Bear Bryant and Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was Mike Shula in there.
So in hoops, because even as curmudgeon-y as like Izzo has spoke on it, he made it pretty clear he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, he's sticking it out.
He's in there.
Playing the game.
He's going to play this game.
Yeah.
But I don't look at Michigan State like I do Virginia and like, let's say, Nova.
Really?
Is there a reason?
No.
Is Izzo the only reason we don't look at Michigan State the same way we look at Virginia?
I don't know. He was good. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Because I like on the surface, just at first blush, if I take Izzo out of the equation, I know they were good before that with Heathcote and Magic and all that, right? But
yeah, like national champion.
No, I know.
Okay.
But if I try and take Izzo out of the equation,
hey, did you want to slap my wrist?
Yeah, I mean, like I know,
I know
Magic Johnson won a national title at Michigan State. Like, what do I look like here?
Lighten up,
Like,
Buttercup.
Have another biscuit.
I'm a big Larry Bird guy. You know, I got. You know,
that's tough.
That
is tough.
Listen, because I don't eat, your little Debbie snacks all the time, whatever.
Team Debbie.
I mean, they're pretty good. I'm not gonna
You
lie.
should see my buddy Degenerate Aaron.
Why?
About 16 different kinds of little Debbies over there.
I'm an oatmeal cream pie guy.
Listen, he has his own. He has his own section.
Yeah.
It looks like a grocery store.
No, but if I try and take Izzo out of the equation for Michigan State, I don't know intrinsically what advantages Michigan State has that Virginia doesn't as a basketball program.
It's fair.
Does that make sense?
Outside of history?
I mean, if we're taking Izzo out of it, the history is very similar.
Yeah, so I just look at conference affiliation.
Yeah, that's better. Big Ten's better than ACC. Although as a basketball conference, ACC is better or close.
So
historically, ACC is better.
Yeah, historically,
ACC is a better basketball conference. Timeout.
Yep.
Tee him up.
That championship banner has been carried by basically two schools. You got the flash in the pan from Maryland, Maryland.
Oh, but it's Duke and Carolina.
You got the flash in the pan from NC State when they shocked the world.
Mm-hmm.
You got the flash in the pan from Virginia. Mm-hmm. The banner of the ACC has been carried by two schools.
Yeah.
The conference historically that has had the accolades is Big Ten's greater than the ACC. Historically. So when my point in saying
you're saying top to bottom.
Yeah, let's just say you don't humor. Let's say you're like, oh man, DB's all wet. Which conference right now do you think in basketball would be easier to recruit to outside of the two aforementioned schools, Duke and North Carolina?
I think
said have carried the ACC.
Big Ten moving forward is in a much better spot.
It's not even close.
Yes.
Not even close. It's not even close.
In everything but baseball.
So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't put Michigan State in the same. They're not a Nova. I mean, you're talking about small. Like, they're not Nova. It's not. Like, you ever been to Charlottesville?
No.
Like, they serve brie cheese at tailgates. Yeah. Like, what are we talking about? You're at least going to get a dirty brat at East Lansing.
I got scared off after the tiki torches. I wasn't trying to hang out there anymore.
You're an idiot.
I've been there. It's a different. It's a beautiful place, but you got to drive. Like, if you fly into DC and go to Charlottesville, I made that drive. It's like 2-lane.
You drove to Charlottesville for Isaac
DC.
Trout?
No.
From DC.
No.
So he flew into DC and then drove to Charlottesville.
Yeah, from DC. I flew into DC, drove to Charlottesville. This was years ago, like 2010, 9, 11, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
knock
it's hard. It's not easy to get to. It's kind of like Penn State-ish.
No, so
like
that's fair. If you're going to tell me,
I just think it's going to be a certain kind of coach.
Well, I think he's doing
at
this because
Virginia
he wants
or
that taps.
Or the taps.
Oh, that yeah.
So what did Jay Wright and Tony Bennett have in common?
The type of schools,
Yeah.
historically, that they have been.
See, because I look at Villanova and Virginia as different types of
What's the
schools.
word I used at the beginning? Did I
don't
say
think-
pageantry?
Yes, you said pageantry.
It's not neither. They're not sexy. So when you're recruiting, it's the particular person that's giving the message. I don't even know if it's the historical context of their accolades that was getting the recruits. I think it was, I want to go play for Jay Wright.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I want to go play for Tony Bennett.
Yep.
Carolina and Duke and Michigan State.
Michigan State's a little sexier for a basketball.
It shouldn't matter.
That's my point.
But I mean, man,
It shouldn't matter who the head coach is. You just
that's too myopic.
I'm saying
sadly
at
it does
Duke
matter.
at Duke and Carolina.
That's what I'm. So that just
the program
to my
is
point.
Yeah,
That's
so
to my
at
point,
those
though.
schools, the program kind of recruits
Yeah.
itself. I agree, although I do.
And
think
it's not that the game has passed those kinds of guys by. It's just the way that they've historically wanted their programs doesn't mesh with the
what's happening
landscape
now.
of sports.
And I think that was something.
And the institution isn't going to supersede the style.
That was something Bennett said in
Does that make
July.
the sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think Villanova as a basketball brand is sexier than Virginia as a basketball brand.
The way they play, 100%.
Well, for sure. Like I think Villanova under Wright was a more appealing style than Virginia under Bennett. I think. I agree with that.
Virginia under Bennett was a lot of.
Yeah, you'd rather shoot a lot of threes rather than play pack line D.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean,
from a sexier standpoint.
But
yeah.
I think if
I
I'm
don't know, both those schools are pretty good at the same time.
No, I know, but
yeah, for sure. But if I'm sitting there and I go Villanova
aesthetically,
if I say Villanova, I think basketball. Like that's the first thing I think of is basketball. If I say Virginia, I don't know. It's kind of ambiguous.
Allen Iverson.
I think of Preppies.
Virginia.
If I think of Virginia,
From Virginia
I know,
Beach.
but Virginia,
like the university.
like the University.
I don't
of
think anything.
I think
in
Preppy.
sports.
I just think Preppy.
Tiki Barber.
No.
Didn't he go there?
I would. So if you
did,
ask
yeah.
me about Virginia historically, this is really dumb because one shouldn't matter. I would go Allen Iverson, Brian Stiff, Ralph Sampson. I don't think anything about football.
Or basketball. or like Virginia Cavaliers basketball.
No.
Just Ralph Sampson's, and that's 50
Their
years
arena's
ago.
great, man.
40 years ago.
That's it.
Yeah.
The
No, I
facilities
agree. I don't have I think of like you mentioned the pageantry. I think of the students in like their preppy gear, going to tailgate, like what you're talking about, serving the brie cheese at tailgates, which I wouldn't be mad about. I love a good brie, but like I don't think of the sports, right? I think of what it looks like. I think of the campus.
That's my point.
Right.
No, that's fair. I'm agreeing with you now. You got me there. We're good.
Got me.
We got me there. We got me there.
Hey, Jerome.
I'm very confused.
Shocker.
I'm not
you
not
couldn't
surprised.
even remember the year you were in a state.
12, 11.
Did you hear
10?
I said it? It was very.
I think it was 11.
It's like he was having a fever dream.
He didn't even go in order.
It was 2011.
He 9.
The summer of 2011.
10, 11. And believe me, I bought some math. That was incredible.
It was the summer of June of 2011.
Hey, speaking of numbers, let's talk top 10s.
Ooh.
10, 11, 12.
What up, Coach? I'll see him today. He's got a sweet pickup.
Like pickup or
like a
truck?
No, like a legit. I know I say truck. It has a flatbed, right?
Flatbed,
Thing you
yeah.
put in. He has a flatbed.
Oh.
Oh, don't act like you've never driven a truck.
I've driven them, but
I mean like a legit truck.
To me, a pickup is like the smaller version, and a truck is like a truck.
That's above my pay grade. That's for truck heads, but it has a bed in it. Like a flat. Like
so I think the flatbed is without the sides. That's a flatbed.
Flatbed is no sides.
Okay, forget it. He has that thing that just drove past there.
A
semi?
The truck that may or may not have been black.
How many wheels does it have? How many wheels does it have?
4, 6, 8, 12.
How many wheels? Like
yeah, Howie Long went to Villanova.
Yeah, that's the first thing I think of.
Or no, Virginia.
By the way, my answer
How
to
long
that
went to
question
Virginia?
for the color of trucks, that's 22% of the nation. That's the color right there.
Black.
Yeah. So I was
I
close.
want blacked out. I want.
How was Westside Prep for you last night? Before I lose my mind.
Well, I left at halftime because it was 41-0.
I thought it was because it was 41 degrees.
Well, it was a little cold too, but I just left at half because
Knock it
wasn't a
off,
lot to
Robbie.
see.
Yeah.
Wasn't a lot to see.
What are you doing?
You guys had now, and you had 5.
It's West Side.
Okay, West Side.
Yeah.
West Side had 5 pre-snap penalties in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Who's counting?
And missed 2 extra points.
Who's counted?
I counted them because it was a little bit of a slow start for West Side last night, which you can't start that slow if you play a team down the road in like the semis or finals or something. Gonna have to get that corrected.
Where are you at tonight?
Bellevue West, Omaha North. Won my
that'd be a good one.
Pinnacle Bank game.
We
of the
talked
week.
to Coach Huffman this morning.
We
There
did.
seems to be a lot more joy. In
I like
his voice.
Yeah,
Coach Huffman.
he's
He's got a new bestie.
Yeah, I think we're gonna hang out. We're gonna coordinate shoes and pants.
Oh, you should have heard him. Hey,
Oh,
yucking
really?
it up. Oh yeah. Oh,
wow.
yeah.
I have to go back.
Oh yeah.
I was sleeping. That game's very interesting. One, Tyson, no Tyson Derry, right?
No comment.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm just talking.
Yeah, no, I just think so. And then, so who's going to be able to control the line of scrimmage is going to be, it's always key in every football game, but tonight's going to be huge. And how much does Will Anderson, is he able to use his legs? Same thing with Mikey Gow. Both quarterbacks kind of can run it. and
How
move their
about
feet.
coming full circle for Mikey Gow?
Yeah.
Bell West to Bell East to
That's wild.
a couple
to think
stops and
about.
then
Yeah.
competing against Bellevue.
And he's
Yeah.
playing pretty good ball this year.
He's not
good.
bad. He's pretty
Yeah,
good.
I mean,
Yeah, he's been good. So, I don't know.
It's still weird. One of the better kept secrets in Darian Jones.
Yeah, he could have a pretty nice night.
He's
tonight.
an all-state caliber player.
Yeah, I saw Bellevue West last week, and Jermaine Green caught some ball. I thought they should have maybe tried to get the ball to him a little more.
Yeah.
Just tell that guy to run a straight line and throw it up in the air.
Have your tiers changed in A?
No.
I kind of think they have, haven't they?
So for
Well,
you were Millard South.
Yeah, Millard
West
South, West Side.
Everybody else, or like a group of like 3
Yeah,
or 4
I thought
teams?
Elkhorn South was probably
Close.
closer.
They were close to. They were
Yeah,
close to
closer
us.
to the 2. Like, clearly,
There's a gap.
There's a gap there. They've flipped around. I mean, there's been some big injuries. So like,
Yeah, we saw one last night affect Papio and Fremont.
huge.
And that happened at the end of their game
very
last week
play.
against Prep.
Yeah, Fremont. So So you have like Millard North has a major injury.
Yeah.
Omaha North has an injury.
Yeah.
So that kind of moves Kearney back up into the top of that tier, right?
I've said all year, you have to be fortunate when it comes to keeping guys healthy.
Yeah.
That's part of making runs.
And Central is coming. Like they've won some games.
How
here.
about their resolve?
Yeah. They could have.
I mean, let's be
No, those kids.
Let's go
they
back
coulda
to
quit.
Bellevue West.
First game of the season.
Yeah. They
Right,
could have
like,
packed it in.
So
then.
many highs and lows. Then they come back to beat. I think coming back to beat Prep was kind of their okay.
Like they're
now
like
we
kind
can
of
do,
flipping point.
We can do this.
Yeah.
Because now they're right there.
Yeah. Well, and that I mean, especially Millard North Central, that's going to be an interesting one tonight.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, legitimately outside of my fandom, like I think that's a really interesting one.
Is that the next best matchup?
Yeah, I think probably tonight out in Omaha. Yeah.
I mean,
What about Class B's got a couple doozies?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Class A wise,
Bennington
that's
Scott.
the best one.
Bennington Scott's a huge.
How surprised were you at the?
Very surprised Elkhorn beat them last week, or Elkhorn North beat Scott last week. I was very
defensive
surprised.
touchdown in a one-score game, like that'll do it.
Flips it.
Mm.
Yeah. Now
Van Dyke with another big night though. He just keeps putting.
Yeah, he's been
numbers.
balling.
Here's my question with that.
I kind of low key love him.
Has Bennington faced a offense that spread it out like that in the last to that high of a level? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that could that.
Well, this has been
where is that game?
That's Scott.
Okay.
And this is the best Scott's offense been in a few years, right?
It's the most prolific.
Yeah.
Or
Throwing it
dynamic, I
around
would say.
and all that. I don't know.
Which to
I
your
mean,
point,
I still think Bennington's defense.
But it's a different challenge for that Bennington defense than they've faced.
Right. That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Scott's going to beat them. I'm not saying Bennington's going to win. I'm
let-
not saying that. What I'm saying is it's a different challenge for Bennington's defense tonight than what they're used to seeing all the time.
Generally speaking, do you think Elkhorn North is better than the public thinks when healthy?
I mean, I saw them healthy against York. and they
I kind of
smacked-
think they're better than they get talked about. Even though they've been top 5 all year, so it's not like
the
woe
Elkhorn
is
loss
them,
was just a
but
little.
I think they're better. Like they don't get near the burn that
We'll find
Bennington and Scott have gotten.
We'll
so
find out next week.
Yeah,
Like Bennington,
and that's at the
Bennington
tail end.
Elkhorn North is next week. We'll find out next week.
And now they're steadily. You see how his increases have carried?
Yeah.
Or his carries have
increased,
increased
yeah.
as the season's gone on.
Yeah.
Mean, probably fresher late than at Elkhorn North.
It's
You got Elkhorn North versus Gretna East tonight.
I mean, Elkhorn North's just big. They're older, like they're bigger, more established guys.
Yeah.
Gretna's next week too.
Mm.
It'll be interesting. Could be.
Yeah. I don't pretend to know that landscape anymore in terms of how they feel about each other.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of love
I
lost.
know. I know for one side. I just don't know if it's
equal animosity.
If it's equal
Shouldn't be.
animosity.
Yeah. But I mean, tonight there's stuff to keep an eye on, right? Like Seward goes to York. York goes to Seward. York
Seward had a
is
nail biter last week. It kind of surprised me.
York Seward is one that's kind of, and then Norfolk Catholic Battle Creek is a huge rivalry game. Huge.
That was second place in your poll, right?
Second place in the. I mean, just that thing was crazy.
Were you out at Battle Creek this summer?
I was at Battle Creek in August.
Yeah.
And I was. I remember last year I was there for that Norfolk Catholic Battle Creek game. It was great. It went to overtime after a 2-hour weather delay. So,
how close do you think we are to ratification and playoffs in the classes? Schedule change.
There's a lot. There's a lot. We could talk about one thing that I do know is like the May 1st deadline. That's a state law, not an NSA deal. So that can't go away. open enrollment meaning. And then, one idea that I think we should consider versus school size enrollment is take kind of what state aid gives with like demographics in there.
Yeah.
And, maybe that's a way we kind of jimmy the classifications.
More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR, and Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla, Mike Sautter here with us as well. It's time for a Bet On It, brought to you by War Horse Sportsbook. Make sure you get out to War Horse Casino in Omaha tomorrow for your chance to win $10,000 in cash and a $500 free slot giveaway every half hour from 6 to 10 p.m. Get to warhorsecasino.com for all the details. DB.
What do you want now?
I want to go through some games.
Hey, can we go back to last week about? Do you remember what I said?
Sure, why not?
About when in this segment, Oregon, Ohio State at Oregon. I think I was right on about 3 of the 5 picks that we gave.
You know what they say about blind squirrels and broken clocks?
I'm saying. I don't even bet like that. I just was
Jerome. I have a question.
I don't even bet like that.
Who wins between the Jets and the Steelers? I'm dead serious.
The Jets dropped it. I dropped an Instagram of it was a touchdown pass this morning of Devontae Adams catching one from.
I've watched Instagram.
No, they dropped a reel this morning, and I was like, I watched it about 15 times. Rodgers over an outstretched defender. I think the Jets win because you're gonna play the wrong quarterback.
Who's you, Lob?
The Steelers are going to play the wrong quarterback.
Mike Tomlin and I only have one thing in common.
I would love fire Mike Tomlin.
You both look
please.
like Omar Epps.
Hey, are they going to fire Mike Tomlin? That's good. That's actually pretty good. Are the Steelers gonna? You kind of do. Cheekbones are kind of protruding.
Every day I come in here, I'm like, man,
no, like
am I Dr. House?
No,
I think
it's
that's
like
Omar Epps.
it's not the eyes part. It's the
love and basketball
cheekbones right here. They kind of are the same.
Hey, is that a black truck out there?
Yeah, that's one. That'd be a truck, not a pickup.
I think if the Steelers start Russell Wilson, they lose.
I do too. Hey, is it time for Mike Tomlin to leave the Steelers after this year?
I will choke you. What are
we
you
got a job
talking
opening?
about?
We got a job opening in New York. So let's. I mean,
You think Mike Tomlin would leave the Roonies to go work for Wood?
I would take him.
Woodrow Johnson?
Probably not.
Of course you would take him, but like, you think he wants to work for Woody Johnson?
No, you know
It's
what
your
they're
own
gonna.
question.
You think he wants to deal with Aaron Rodgers for another year with his
what they're gonna
broken
end up
ass
doing-
body?
What they're gonna end up doing is, I just don't know how I'm gonna. I don't know how I'm
Can we
gonna do
rewind
this
for a second?
Yes, Omar. He's gonna punch people.
Okay, I'm cool.
Now he's mad.
Everybody in here thought that was funny. That was cute. That was cute. Well played.
I wasn't laughing.
Yes, yes, you were. I looked dead at you. I looked to you for a lifeline, and I can't even see your eyes because your head is buried from laughing. That's cool. That's cool.
All right.
Remember how I said I got a hold of my joke Tourette's earlier? That one got out, man. That one
I
got
wish
out.
you'd have said the other one.
We're gonna hire Bill Belichick.
Because Chris would have ran you up out of here after saying that.
We're gonna hire Bill Belichick for
He'd
one
been like, "Hey,
season.
Robbie, I know you're my guy, man. That crossed the line.
We gotta
man.
go.
You gotta
We
go."
gotta go.
All right, fine. Let's get back. Now, practice self-control.
I do think that
I'm doing my best.
I do think the Jets win because I don't know how. Well, everyone's been able to kind of run the ball.
Well, clearly,
because
because all black people look alike.
That is not what.
Don't look any like nobody. I'm gonna move on. Omar Epps. The fuck?
Did you just say the?
What the fudge?
Wow, I thought you actually first time in my life.
Not a chance.
You want to start with NFL or college?
Let's start with you shutting up.
What is
Mike,
that?
what would
Jets
you like
line?
to talk about? Let's
We
pick
can talk
some
about the
games.
Jets. We can keep.
No,
talking
we
about
can't.
the Jets. Jets.
We already picked the Jets.
You
We're
know it's
moving on.
coming hard. Sunday night, it's coming. I'm coming for you Sunday night.
Cool.
Just
You picked
have
the
your
Jets.
phone,
We got it.
Have your phone
Texans
open.
plus 2.5. Packers.
Oof. Is it at the Packers?
Yes.
Ooh,
A
a lot of points.
2.5?
No, a lot of points in the game. Like
I don't know,
50-some.
man. Green Bay D's up. Texans
Houston's
haven't been
offense.
prolific. I'm serious. Like the expected outcome based
Over
on their
under is
scores.
47.5.
47?
Yeah, that's not going to be a
I
talk.
think it'd be 50. So,
I'm going to
Packers.
all things being equal, I don't like less than the key number at home. Give me the Texans.
Okay. I think I like the Texans there too. I just think they're better. I just think the Texans are better. Lions plus 1.5 against the Vikings.
Where's it at?
It's Minnesota.
Ooh, Minnesota.
Give me the Lions.
I want the Lions there too. Chiefs plus 1.5 versus the 49ers. You already know how I feel about this one.
Give me the Niners.
I want the Chiefs. I can't believe the Chiefs are dogs in that game.
San Francisco.
In Kansas City?
No, San Fran.
Oh,
I cannot believe the Chiefs are dogs in that game.
San Fran.
Ravens minus 3.5 Buccaneers.
That line stinks.
Yeah, it does. It's terrible.
Gosh,
That's a
line
Monday
is
night.
awful.
It's a
Monday
terrible line. I hate it.
That's one of the 2 Monday nights.
I got to play the line. I'll take the Bucks.
Yeah.
I'll take the Bucks.
I think the Ravens are better, but I think the line says you
they're
got to take
clearly
the Bucs there.
better.
Yeah, I think you got to take the Bucs there. All right, college. We'll save Nebraska for last. Miami minus 5, Louisville.
Maybe.
Because I think that number should be bigger too.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
I think I'm going Louisville here.
Miami.
I'm going to take the Canes.
Okay. I think Louisville. I think this Louisville catches up with
I just
Miami.
like hearing you say Louisville.
Louisville.
I'm still pissed.
Don't say that about Nebraska.
Alabama minus 3, Tennessee.
So as volatile as some people think I am sometimes, you would be amazed at myself.
Oh, no,
in
I
the
know.
Last 10 minutes.
My
eyes are watering.
Alabama.
I've said so many things that you probably should have hit me for.
It's like incredible.
I understand. Sometimes I go back and listen to the show, and I'm like, I'm so much meaner to him than I mean to be.
Regular Richard head.
Better than a Richard Tucker, though, right?
Wow. I'll let you know after the Indiana-Nebraska prediction.
Dick Vermeil?
Dean Blandino. Alabama minus 3, Tennessee.
Ooh-wee.
These are two
At
teams I
Tennessee?
don't know about at all. This is one of those, like, I think we learned something.
Alabama's culture right now does not appear to
Doesn't
be.
feel great.
But Tennessee stinks.
Their offense doesn't look good at all.
But Bama's defense is no good.
Right.
Say Alabama.
I think I take Tennessee and the plus 3.
Where's that?
Tennessee.
Nashville.
Ooh.
Give me Bama.
Notre Dame minus 9.5, Georgia Tech.
Notre Dame.
Is Caden playing?
I don't know.
I'll take Notre Dame.
Yeah, I take Notre Dame as well. All right, this is a big one for my guy. Michigan minus 3.5, Illinois.
Illinois. Low scoring.
That's in Champaign, right?
Mm-hmm.
Total's got to be like 20, like 34.
3.5. Michigan, right?
Michigan is a 3.5 point favorite.
They have no business being ranked.
Illinois.
No, they don't.
Well, hey.
3.5. Give me the hook.
Give me the under though. The over under is 44.5.
Give me Michigan.
I'm taking Illinois. I'm taking Illinois here.
I'll
Give me
take
the
low
Michigan.
scoring game.
LSU minus 2.5, Arkansas.
I'll take the Razorbacks.
Yeah.
If they don't turn the ball over, they may beat them by 8.
I'm also taking Arkansas.
Give me Arkansas.
Georgia plus 5, Texas.
In Austin, right?
This hurts me because I like Georgia.
But it's Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The line says take Texas.
Yeah.
I just don't know. When's the last time Alabama hasn't been favored by this much over Georgia before?
No. And here's the thing that gives me pause.
You know what?
Here's the thing
I don't know.
Here's the thing that gives me pause.
I don't know.
Georgia is undefeated in its last 50 games against teams that are not Alabama.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I think the number's too high.
I'm going Georgia.
Give me Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm going Georgia.
Give me Georgia.
Last but not least, Nebraska plus 6.5.
Shane, on a normal day, I would say bless you. But right now, I say hope you sneeze your brains out.
Nebraska.
I've been on your side all day.
That's a lie.
Nebraska plus 6.5.
Give me
Indiana.
Nebraska.
Give me Nebraska on the money line.
Yeah.
Nebraska's
How
winning.
much is it?
Nebraska's winning this ball
6.5,
game.
so it's got to be
240 maybe?
Yeah.
Nebraska is winning this ball game.
What is the money line?
I'm looking. I'm finding it. We've got a
235, 240.
Yes.
RP.
Not more than 260.
Shane, I know what you're doing with the whole Mike Tomlin.
He's trying to make you. He's trying to make you friends again. I've got it at plus 195.
Yeah, now you got
Oh,
Ryan.
that's easy.
Just tweeting out pictures of random black people. Wow.
Plus 195 is the money line.
Yeah, give me Nebraska.
Give me the money line.
If you didn't have the beard and actually,
I'm done with you.
I'm kind of riding with Tim Verghese here. I think Nebraska wins by 2 scores.
I mean, I'll take Nebraska.
I think
Take Nebraska on the
win.
money line.
Yeah.
That is Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. Make sure you get to Warhorse Casino this weekend for a chance to win $10,000. Matt Vrzal comes up next to wrap up the show. We'll see if DB sticks around for it. I'm Ravi. That's DB. That's Mike. We'll be back more on Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio. Now let's find out what Matt Vrzal is better at, telling stories or making pizza.
Matt.
Matt's an exceptional young man.
Matt Vrzal.
Happy birthday, Matt.
You know, Matt, he's a tremendous athlete.
Matt Vrzal.
Come on, Matt, I'm with you.
You know, like Matt Vrzal, you're one of the sexiest people in the world, but you're not one of the most beautiful. How does that happen?
Here is Matt Vrzal.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
Wrapping up the show here on a Friday with Matt Vrzal joining us on Hurrdat Sports Radio. Verse, what's going on, man?
Not much, boys. How you doing?
Oh, you sound
hanging out with Omar today.
Yeah, right. Hey, no, I was gonna have Matt get my back, but he'd probably pile on. lot of race jokes.
No,
Matt, lot of race jokes
That's
at your boy's expense.
That's not it at all.
It is to it.
No.
Ooh, you guys are gonna fight.
That's all he cares about.
That wasn't it. It's not a racial.
That's all Verse cares about. It's like, ooh, somebody's gonna get their dome
So
split.
Verse is just here for the spectacle.
Virgo. Ravi said that Damon looks like Omar Epps.
No, oh yeah, he did. And there was a Mike Tomlin comparison, and then I mean, you know what they were inferring.
In context, it is a funnier joke than what Mike just made it sound like. He lost all the,
Well, it was
Wouldn't you say though that Mike looks like Moby?
Good one, because that hasn't been used before.
Wouldn't you like? That's your problem though. Sometimes
don't
you
care.
don't fire back.
That's fine. I don't need
Who,
to fire
me?
back.
Yeah.
If this
Yeah,
wasn't,
I ate it. I ate the last one. It just
And you got mad at me on whatever day you came over.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
What was I? I can't remember. I was mad. What did you say?
I had some freshly blended refreshment drink. And
Yeah. He made again race. He made another innuendo.
No, you put it in race. I like watermelon.
You too.
No,
because
there's 88 flavors to choose from of fruit, and he goes, "Do you want watermelon?" And I
Because
get
I had
question mark, and he goes, "Why you got to make it racial?" I got.
No, I didn't. We had that
watermelon.
conversation face to face.
I'm not.
You came in. And what did I tell you? It was fresh watermelon. It was delicious. Was
It's
it
a
not?
delicious flavor. Great flavor.
Shut your face.
Was it or was it not delicious?
No, it was great because when I used
Oh,
the
you didn't-
straw, which I was not happy with, but it's fine. It like actual watermelon came through the straw. It was very refreshing.
You're welcome.
But a straw into watermelon?
Oh yeah.
Into an actual watermelon?
Matt did.
Good.
I was traumatized after I found out he probably fingered it to
Mhm.
put it in
Probably
the thing,
put it-
but it tasted so good I was willing to overlook it. And
Put it in there with a fork because I know how you are.
you did not.
No way.
On my mother's life, I put it in there with a fork.
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right.
All right, man.
Look at him looking out for you and your germophobia. What a nice friend.
Dude, he's known me more than half my life.
Playing chess. Maybe some people still playing checkers.
Matt, I have a question about. Can I use the run term without you getting upset?
Use what term?
A run term.
Sure.
I'm just repeating what Coach Rule said, so don't get all of whatever. You're probably not even wearing underwear, but if you are, get him
in zone.
We got a duo trigger warning coming up here, guys.
duo trigger warning. So, but he's mad now. I haven't even asked the question yet. God, look at this dude.
He's pissed.
See, all right, fine. I'm gonna ask it. He's pointing to his watch. Okay.
Time's running out.
So Nebraska's like, hey, we run, or Rule's like, hey, we run duo, we run counter. We're gonna run some power. Is there a way that, like, when you watch them run those kind of pet plays, where one back versus two back versus using a tight end to insert, is there something to mixing up how you get to said run plays this weekend?
I think you're more kind of looking at the end result. Like you're going to have to, and I don't know, you would know this probably. I haven't heard of it, but if they script the first, 15 or 20, however they do it, I'm guessing different varieties of those plays will be in there. So you find the one that you find, number one, if you can control that gap. And then once you find out what gaps you can control, then you start to experiment on what plays you want to run through there. It's the same end. It's just a different window dressing on it. If you want to put two backs in, if you want to motion a tight end across, I don't mind the creativity at all. I like the creativity of it, but you have to find what works.
Is there something to that? Since you don't really scheme big run plays, do you think there's something to getting to the same thing multiple ways?
If you find an advantage, yeah. I mean, if you find like, hey, we can win the weak side C gap, or we can win the weak side B gap, whatever one you want to win, you start to win that gap. That is now under our control. We were going to go at that thing different ways because we feel if we give them the same look, they're just going to adjust. If we give them this little different tweaks on it, then we can still maintain that. And we know that's now something we can rely on later when we need to.
Verz, when you're looking at a team like Indiana, who's obviously better than they have been in years past and a quality opponent, depending on if you believe how good they are or not, whatever. But like, do you have some experience with trying to convince yourself or guys you've coached that a team is better than their logo? Like, Indiana historically is not a team that scares you. Like, has it ever been challenging to be like, no, this is actually a good team, despite it being Indiana or despite it being Kansas or whoever it was at the time for you?
K-State.
K-State.
That would have been a good example.
I think it's a flawed logic. I think if you go into a game and you're worried about your opponent, you probably shouldn't play. You're going into the game trying to be the best version of yourself. You don't care what the logo is, who you're playing. Your preparation leads you to be the best you can be on that game day. And if you get consumed and possessed by that thought process, record doesn't matter, team doesn't matter. You're out there to try to be the best version of you. Now, in being the best version of yourself, you're going to find out there's just teams that are still going to beat you. But now you know what you have to improve on. You have to get better at. You have to retool to beat them the next time around. Like we want to, oh my God, Indiana's first year coach is 6-0, and Jesus, what are we doing? And we're that. Come on, man.
Hey, whose voice is that?
Yours. Old boy brought over a full team, which he had the luxury of doing because he had built that team at James Madison, and I give him credit for that.
Oh man, how is that my voice?
It's not. But I give him credit for that because that's awesome that those kids wanted to migrate and go with him. But now he instantly has teachers built up. I'm not making excuses for anything. But now he's got teachers of culture like, hey, you can keep trying to do it the Indiana way, or you can do it his way, and we're going to be a lot more successful. So let's just give this a rip and see what happens. And he's also aware enough. He knows, hey, all these kids are going to graduate. So I got to go find 22 more in the portal or in the recruiting, and they got to be ready to roll. So, but he makes them the best they can be right now. Now, have they played a world beater schedule? No. Does the transverse process work in football? Also no. Nebraska goes out and they have the best version of Nebraska on Saturday at 11 kickoff. They will win the game. If they go and worry about how we're going to do this and how we're going to do that, then there will be a little bit more of a struggle. But go out and be the best version of you can be, and then you'll win.
Who would you like to be emotionally, Matt, if you could pick? Would you rather be Indiana and kind of this new thing and people are on your campus, or would you kind of like to be Nebraska where most people haven't talked about you all week, but you haven't gotten over the hump either?
Truth. I just want to be Nebraska. Like I don't know much about Indiana, but Larry Bird's from there.
Well, you've been the hunter and the hunted. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, just I mean it's. I think I like Signetti. Most people don't. Yeah. That guy can read a room.
Yep.
He said when he got there, it's doom and gloom. He goes, so did I want to go out on an interview and say, I win, Google me? He said, no, I didn't want to. But those guys had to believe I was there to win. And they believe it now. So that, like, you're not going to find a lot of coaches that are like that, then can back it up. We had one that said once they're going to have to adjust to our system. Well, that didn't work out because you couldn't back it up. Now you got a guy who can back it up, and they're doing pretty good. I would always I want to be in Nebraska, going on the road, underdog, all that kind of stuff. Let's go figure it out. Because the Nebraska flu, I'll tell you this, the Nebraska flu is starting to be a real thing. Because the gamblers out there, tell me how many people I've covered after playing Nebraska the next week.
So this is weird, Matt, because I was a little reluctant to take Nebraska in the points because if anybody wins by 7 or more, I think it's only Indiana.
Well, you shouldn't bet because you're part of the broadcast team.
Well,
it'd be a bad look.
Listen, I'm gonna have to go home. Man.
Okay, so
like if there's any blowing out to be done,
Yeah.
it seems like it would be Indiana to me.
I understand why you think that, but for me, like a week off where Coach White can kind of retool some things on defense and maybe clear some heads on some coverage things that have slipped up, and then give the offense a week to, I'm not going to say gel, but maybe season some of their kids that are in there now that aren't normally in there, and tell them, hey, this is the way it's got to go. And a little birdie told me that, my birdie isn't the best birdie, but that Mazuka is going to be the guy on the line, and that's always a good thing for me.
Like the little birdie and Dumb and Dumber birdie, or a different birdie?
Well, the birdie and Dumber died, so.
So hopefully not that birdie.
Gas man came to collect the bill.
Oh, pretty birdie.
Our
Pretty birdie.
heads are falling off.
All right, man.
They need like a Mazuka though, right? Going forward.
Bad.
For some badassness, I guess.
Bad.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
All right, man. Thank you for wishing me safe travels. Hope to see you soon.
Damon, I hope you have the safest travels ever.
Okay.
That no flight attendant offers you any watermelon because you get mad because I provide you fresh, delicious watermelon.
Yeah, I'll per usual. I'll call you when we land on my way back.
I'll be here.
That's Matt Vrzal, former Husker owner, Pie Zones Pizzeria. See you later, Verse.
Pie
Hey,
Zone.
make sure you go check out GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get your appointment scheduled. I can't wait to go back on Monday, get my next shot. Dude, I played like 3 hours of tennis on Monday. I wasn't even sore the next day.
Yeah. Hey, I love that place.
Dude, I'll see you soon. Feeling fresh.
Yeah.
Feeling good to go. We'll be back there on Monday. We'll be back here on Monday as well. Hurrdat Sports Radio.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.